That's right. Only 24 hours and your new smile is ready. Forget
In 76, by candles light, a handful of men signed their names to the fight. Everything they had, their fortunes, their lives, on a dream that a free land could arise. Muskets in the cold, the drum and the fife, they bled for a country they'd never see thrive. 250 years, and we're still standing tall. Red, white, and blue, flying over us all. And I'm proud, Lord, I'm proud of this ground where I stand, of the blood and the fire that built this land. Land that I love. Thank God I'm still free. 250 years, and she still belongs to me. Hey! Cannon smoke rolled over Bunker Hill. Every generation paid the bill. From Normandy sand to a desert sun, they carried that flag till the fight was won. Torn and burned, but it never came down. Stitched back together and raised over town. 250 years, and we're still standing tall. Red, white, and blue, flying over us all. And I'm proud, Lord, I'm proud of this ground where I stand, of the blood and the fire that built this land. Land that I love. Thank God I'm still free. 250 years, and she still belongs to me. Now the drums come alive on the 4th of July. Blue thunder roaring across the sky. The jets tear over the crowd below. Same stars those founders watched long ago. Fireworks bursting a million strong. The whole nation singing the same old song. Like the biggest sky the world has ever known. 800,000 stars, and nobody's alone. Cannons and fireworks, the flag rolling high. The eagle climbing through the 4th of July. Grandmas and soldiers, the young and the old, hand over heart for the red, white, and gold. 250 years, and we're still standing tall. Red, white, and blue, flying over us all. And I'm proud, Lord, I'm proud of this ground where I stand. God bless the fire that built this land. Land that I love. I'll always stand for you. 250 years, and she's still shining through. Whoa! 250 years, still free, together strong, nobody left behind.
Okay, that's one there. Lucy Mom.
Fourth appearance as a punt.
Bye then.
Not a song of power. This is a prayer. A prayer for fathers and mothers, for workers and soldiers, for the young and for the old, for every heart searching for hope. When nations are troubled, when people are divided, when fear grows louder than faith, there is still one who reigns above it all. So tonight, we pray! From the mountains to the oceans, from the cities to the plains, many hearts are growing weary, many souls are filled with pain. We have chased 1,000 answers, searching everywhere but you. Now we stand before your mercy. Lord, we need your truth. God save America, turn our hearts again. God save America, let revival rise within. Heal the broken, lead the lost, bring us to our knees. God save America. Lord, have mercy, please. God, the children of this nation, guide them through the darkest days. Give them courage, give them wisdom, keep them walking in your ways. Bless the fathers and the mothers, strengthen every weary hand. Let your light shine through the darkness, heal this wounded land. God save America, turn our hearts again. God save America, let revival rise within. Heal the broken, lead the lost, bring us to our knees. God save America. Lord have mercy, please. Not by power, not by might, but by your spirit, bring us back to life. Not by riches, not by fame, but by the glory of your holy name. Though kingdoms rise and kingdoms fall, your throne stands forever above them all. God save America, lift your banner high. Hear your people cry, send your mercy, send your grace. Let your fire descend, God save America. And draw us back again. When the night is long, be our light. When hope grows weak, be our strength. When fear surrounds us, be our peace. And when we lose our way, lead us home. God save America! God save America!
Okay, God bless America. And God bless our president, best ever, and best ever First Lady, and our U.S. troops in the past and the future. And today we got a lot of 14, 15-minute videos. I got to play the first one from Michigan because we're getting a lot of news right now out of Michigan. So the first one will be 14, and then Billy's out just now with a 18. I got the two older ladies, one apiece. 15, and I got a couple short ones. A January 6th video, but we'll play that one after the Michigan video. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. We got a lot to cover again. And we got Tim and Lucy so far. Hopefully everybody will be getting in here soon. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So we'll get going here. This is about an hour, I think, on the.
Our society is a polite society. I'm so pro 2A, I think every country should have a nuke.
Get back. Get back. Get back.
You serious? We need more Christians in this country to stand up and have a backbone. Please. Make peaceful, American.
He's going to go back. I'm not on the railing. I'm not on the railing.
Thank God for our veterans. Thank you for the sacrifices you made to serve this country for this freedom we have. God bless the veterans who are here. Thank you.
Well, we're seeing my people be peaceful, but we're seeing an amazing amount of Muslims chant Ali Akbar in the middle of an American street. Assault Americans just because their skin is white and their Lord is Jesus. These people cannot assimilate. They will not assimilate. They must go.
Look at disgusting violent Muslims. America was founded for my people.
I'll fuck your Jewish mother in the ass.
America was founded for Christians and for white people.
I'll fuck you up. I'll fuck you up.
We will take our country back. The stone is rolled away. Muhammad is dead. Yogi is dead. Joseph Smith is dead. We will stand against every single tongue that exalts itself above the Lord Jesus. Father, we know you're listening to our cries.
This is about an hour from the okay.
Right here. Get this fucking pussy right here. What do you know? Fucking pussy. I don't get him because of what somebody said.
Everybody's pointing at you. No, yo, man. He coming with
Not so close to the camera, sir, because if someone hits you, it's going to hit somebody behind.
So we're out here to make sure that people understand that Dearborn is all about love, no hate. We got a bunch of churches and mosques we put together, and I want to let you guys know that we love you guys no matter what is going on. We love you guys to the depths of our hearts. Jesus saves!
7 minutes. 7 minutes.
$100 million have to go. Jewish Americans, stand with Jewish Americans. Stand with your Christian brothers. These Muslims hate you. They hate everything you stand for. Jewish Americans, vote for Mike Rogers in the upcoming U.S. Senate. Deport Abdul El-Sayed. The Iraqi Muslims are rapists. The Yemenis Muslims are rapists. Go back to your country. Go back to your country. Jaden, bring it here. Jaden. Jaden.
Just go. You want to fight it? Just go. The hot-headed tribe. Just go.
Your leaders are homosexual Democrats. Swear Mondani is a homosexual.
No, man. He coming with us. Anybody doing violence, put him in cuffs.
Excuse me, please.
Anybody doing violence, put him in cuffs.
Not so close to the camera, sir, because if someone hits you, it's going to hit somebody
Jesus is king! Jake Lang is a Jew! 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 God bless Iran! God bless Ayatollahs! God bless the IRGC! These Jews want to take over America! Fuck Israel! Fuck Israel! Fuck Israel! Fuck Israel!
Let's go, brother. Let's go, baby.
God bless Iran! God bless Iran!
God bless Iran.
Hey, great job.
You want to eat dinner at our house?
What's that?
You want to eat dinner at our house?
We're going to be really busy after this. So we got you, man. Will these guys get a flyer? Where you guys from?
Hey, these are all good guys right here.
All good guys. Yeah.
Hey, you too, brother. Hey, go ahead.
I am a doctor.
Yes,
Listen, you got no. Oh, I'm not a Jew. Actually, listen. No.
My state.
Yeah, no, Jews, we're not trying to kill Jews. Yeah, Jews have a region.
We're gonna kill all the Jews!
Jews are. They can go back. They can go down to the Palestinian.
Nadwa Wahi! Nadwa Wahi! Hail! One struggle!
One struggle.
One struggle! Hail Hamas! Hail Hezbollah! Hail the Houthis! Hail Iran! Down with Israel! Free Palestine! Hail Hitler! We don't support Jake Lang. Jake Lang is a Jew. We support Hitler. We support Nazis. We support one struggle between whites and Arabs against the Jew, the enemy of all mankind. Nadwa Wahi! Nadwa Wahi! One struggle! Free Palestine! Hail Hitler! Down with Israel!
Fuck the Jews. Israel is the enemy of mankind.
Americans
It's a nation built on lies. And
Epstein was a Jew
man.
too.
It
And
sucks.
so was Jared Fogle.
It's an hour from the okay. An hour.
Okay. Hey, guys. My Muslim friend says he loves Jesus more than me.
Good boy.
Hey. I love you too. Hey, we about to have a contest to see who loves Jesus the most. We're going to see who loves Jesus the most. Look. Hey, check it out. Jesus is God. Bow the knee.
Hell no.
Bow the knee.
I just don't understand. Where is the military? Where is the military?
Hey, wait, go back a little bit. Go back.
Jordan. I'll watch you speak. Give me water, I'll watch you speak.
I'm gonna show you something. 1 second. Where's the Qibla?
Sir.
Hey, the Qibla is that way? You said who's God?
Jesus is God.
And you want me to bow down, you said?
And worship Jesus. If you love him.
I love him. I love Jesus as a prophet. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is my God, and I'm going to bow down and
Only
worship
God, the eternal God.
Back.
Oh, what is it? Back.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar. Jesus is God.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
Jesus is God.
About 2 minutes. 2 more minutes.
You ain't gonna do shit.
What do you think is going to happen tomorrow?
I just want to make sure that
You believe
get the video.
So what is that about?
I got ran over, and dirty cop let my murderer run free, and then the chief of police covered up my police report for 3 years so that I couldn't get any justice, and then the mayor, of course, helped them do it, and all charges were dropped, and nobody got charged with anything. and died 4 times, once in a coma, broke every bone in my body. And they just covered it all up. Judge Hammond, DA David Layton, Mayor Neely, and of course Chief Green. Don't forget about him.
Free Palestine, hail Hitler. Free Palestine, hail Hitler.
Get out of here. Get out of here, bro. Back up.
I wonder if I should take a drive up there, Kay, and do a video, huh? Via Nick Shirley. But no, thank you. I don't want to do that. So, yep, that is. Ahead on. That's the first big video. I got a 4-minute video from January 6th, you guys. And I got 2 Benny Johnson ones that are important.
Do you think you know the Proud Boys?
The Proud Boys, their extremism, their misogyny, their racism, their violence.
The extremist group, the Proud Boys.
They hate people from outside of the country.
Known hate organization that resorts to violence, extremism.
What you've been told is a lie. It's time to tell the truth about the Proud Boys.
Nothing would bring me more joy than to piss off the entire left and be like, Q, I did it. There's nothing you can do about it. I got pardoned. You know how pissed off they would be? I would love to do that, but I can't. It'd be a lot.
The fact of the matter is, I was there to defend people who I disagree with completely. And it was fun. To that jury. And this is how I knew that they were going to get convicted, despite the fact that they didn't commit the crime.
It was impossible for anybody.
Anybody see this one yet?
Any level of crime coming out of January 6th to get a fair trial in D.C.
What do you make of Enrique Tarrio?
Phenomenal propagandist, someone who knows how to get headlines.
I was the chairman of the notorious Proud Boys.
Convicted of seditious conspiracy. Enrico Tarrio.
The Proud Boys found guilty of plotting the Capitol assault.
4 members of the far right. Proud Boys convicted of seditious conspiracy.
What is expected to be the largest criminal prosecution in U.S. history?
There was no way out except to plead guilty. This undermines our entire system of justice. It doesn't matter about the facts or the law anymore. It is a machine.
This is being used for a
that video of Michigan.
Political purpose is a thought crime.
Carries a maximum sentence of 20 years behind bars if convicted.
January 6th was a cry for help. From the American people who were being minimized and abused and discounted.
They were saying that we went there with the intent to stop the certification of the election, and that just wasn't the case. I have every single electronic piece of equipment that I have, and nothing ever came up from any of us saying that we were going to do that.
My entrance into the Capitol wasn't through a broken window or a busted up door. It was through two sets of doors that were being held open by police officers.
Some of the people had the police holding the door for them like they were escorts at Radio City Musical.
There was like 50 police vehicles, law enforcement. Helicopter, like raided my house, guns drawn. I just could not comprehend how somebody
Under 2.
who wasn't even charged with anything violent or even accused of anything violent. I walked around the Capitol, took a few selfies with my friends, and I'm being denied bail. There's murderers who get bail. We're treated worse than actual terrorists.
We didn't know that the world had just changed.
And they were intentionally aiming at people's heads, aiming at people's faces. Everything they did was illegal that day. Flashbangs, they're not supposed to throw them in the air because by the time they explode, they can explode head level and kill someone.
They showed up just to have their voices heard. That is exactly the situation that our founding fathers hoped for.
They're not the first people to go down for a crime that they didn't commit. And they're not the last. You prosecuted and sent people to prison for something that never occurred. There was no insurrection. There was no sedition.
If you think that it can't happen to you, if you think that people in charge can't decide that your political ideas are bad and therefore you have to go to jail for it, you're crazy. Because it can happen.
A sham trial, a travesty of justice, one of the worst examples of injustice in the history of the United States of America, whether you voted for Joe Biden or you voted for Trump.
I got 2 bitty videos coming up.
This is a crime against all of the American people.
So that was another videotape from January 6th. All right, we got somebody moved back to the USA, guys.
Why I'm taking on the corporations raising your costs, because I always remember who I serve.
There's always something new at Gun Lake Casino Resort. Your favorite place to play is now and out of this world.
We are proud to report to you that Trump finally broke Rosie O'Donnell. No, we really mean it. She's actually having a mental breakdown on stage live on ABC News. It's wild. You got to see it. Donald Trump continues to post bangers about Rosie O'Donnell.
Have you or someone you know been diagnosed with TDS? The symptoms can be relentless. Fortunately, I'm Dr. Trump, and I have a treatment plan. Let's hear what some of my patients have to say.
I have been suffering for over a decade, and after listening to Dr. Trump, I can see some results.
A straight up banger, by the way. This was let's see here, 8,000 retweets. It's 30,000 likes. That's spicy. You know that Rosie O'Donnell fled America. Rosie O'Donnell melts down talking about Trump, saying that she will never return to America. She wants to go, F you, right to his face. Who do you think you are? That's what I would say to him, says Rosie O'Donnell, and says that she won't ever come back. Rosie O'Donnell reveals that she will remain in Ireland for good, even after Donald Trump leaves the White House. She's so sick of America. She's so done with America. She can't stand it. She can't tolerate it. And that's all well and good if Rosie stays in Ireland. Donald Trump trolling Rosie O'Donnell with the president of Ireland saying, please, why don't you keep her? He said this multiple times.
Do you know who she is? Yeah. I'm joking. You better off not know.
So stay away, right? Stay away from America. Don't we all win in this scenario? But we don't all win. Rosie O'Donnell slammed for posing in front of a private jet after lambasting wealthy people. Oh, okay. Oh, no. Sign of things to come here. Here's Rosie O'Donnell, the two most insufferable people you know, just did something that the world will not be able to stand. Why are you posing in front of a private jet? Aren't you famous? Aren't you rich? Your little red carpet here. Like, why do you have to do this? You don't have to pose in front of a private jet. Rosie O'Donnell, it should be embarrassing to the billionaire. Embarrassing how much money you have. Oh, okay. Well, that's a $55 million jet right there that you're going to fly private on to what? A red carpet. There you go. Where she's doing interviews on the red carpet. To be part of season 30 in a return to The View. To return to the U.S. multiple times after vowing not to come back. I'm sorry to inform you that Rosie O'Donnell is back and guest hosting for Jimmy Kimmel.
Just under 9 minutes.
She's not funny.
6 to
And
go.
apparently, her 11-year-old child uses they, them pronouns. Very sorry to do this to you, but here we go. Rosie O'Donnell wearing Elton John, like wearing an outfit that would make Elton John blush in like a Liberace performance, brings back the lady who left with herpes on her mouth from overeating and overdrinking.
Watch how quickly dogs relax when they lie down on an orthopedic dog sofa like this. Unlike flat beds,
Because of Orange Man.
They said you can't come home again, but here I am. And if you thought the president hated Jimmy Kimmel Live when it was hosted by Jimmy Kimmel, buckle up, people. I am your guest host, Rosie O'Donnell. And if you're wondering why I'm here, it all started like a heist movie. I was out of this talk show game, living abroad. You know, I've been living in Ireland for the past 2 years because of Mango Mussolini. I decided to move, and I took my little then 11-year-old kid with me. And I just said, whatever you do, don't tell anyone, because we don't want a lot of press and a lot of paparazzi. So please don't tell anyone. And they're a pretty smart kid. You know, they got it. They said, don't worry, I won't. And then went to school and proceeded to tell their entire class. I'm very sorry. I won't be able to graduate 6th grade with you. I'm being forced to move to another country because the president of the United States hates my mother. But in all fairness, I believe my mother hates him more.
It's so funny.
And if you think you sit, relax. Oh boy, it's great to be back. They said you can't come home again, but here I am. And if you thought the president hated Jimmy Kimmel Live,
Okay. All right. Not appreciating the irony of hosting the show in the United States, Rosie O'Donnell kicks off her week by saying, you know, I've been living in Ireland because of Mango Mussolini. Project 2025, got to get myself out of here, you know. But you're back to collect money, which is all that matters to these people. You're back to get more money. This is why Rosie O'Donnell is going back on The View. You're back because you need to see money going in your bank account because that's your God.
you do, don't tell anyone, because we don't want a lot of... I read that Project 2025 and said, got to get myself out of here, you know? And I decided to go to Ireland, a place where people are driven to drink regardless of who's running their country. I I decided to move, and I took my little then 11.
Okay, got it. All right. These are all the funny jokes. This is it. Rosie O'Donnell uses her opening monologue to attack Donald Trump and says more about taking her kid. Says, "Hi, I know you're watching," to Donald Trump.
Hi, I know you're watching.
Okay. These people are such frauds. All they want is money. Disney's filing a lawsuit against President Trump because he went after Jimmy Kimmel. He's like not allowed to talk about Jimmy Kimmel anymore. In The View. This is great. I love this. They're like trying to say that The View is not fake news. They're trying to say that Jimmy Kimmel and The View are both upstanding news shows that deserve to have the type of luxuries that the federal government gives them and lavish tax breaks and so on that are provided by being a public broadcaster. And I guess they're choosing Rosie O'Donnell to fill in for Jimmy Kimmel as like a thorn in the paw of Trump and his administration. I guess we'll see how that goes. Disney versus Trump. He pushes on-air campaign for audience support as FCC investigates Democrat-friendly network. They're scared, man. They're scared. Is this going to move the needle? I really don't think so. This is going to be it.
Thank you. Sit, relax.
This is what you're going for. This is your big play, Disney. Wow. You really got us this time. The walls are closing in. What a nightmare. How sad. How depressing. Could you imagine? Could you imagine debasing yourself for money in such a way? Could you imagine lying to your audience so regularly and so often? Could you imagine having so little morals and so little shame? Maybe that's the issue. These people, they're incapable of the shame that the rest of us feel. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the best part about this is that literally no one was watching. So it's your boy Benny Lecture.
Okay, the second Benny video now.
Employees and family members with a current eligible lease can get this 2026 Silverado for $189 a month.
The statistics on substance use disorder are staggering. Every year in Michigan, around 2,000 people.
Well, it's like The Apprentice all over again at the White House. President Trump cycling through potential new White House press secretaries, and there's a lot of rumors out there. But we have a clear dark horse who is in the lead right now. A CNN personality. Come on, baby. Caroline Leavitt's possible successors emerge. White House press secretary's surprise departure. Not really a surprise. She has two very small children. Makes a lot of sense to spend some time with them. This is the most demanding job, arguably, in the world, being the voice of Donald Trump. Could you possibly imagine? And so here are some of the names. Obviously, Alina Habba. We've talked about this. And by the way, Alina Habba, who we love, just issued a dripping love letter to Caroline Leavitt. You were perfection. You walked into that room every single day outnumbered, and you still owned it. Nobody handled the fake news better than you. Alina Habba was seen with President Trump this weekend. Here's Trump and Alina Habba sitting right next to Donald Trump. They kicked the cameras out, and Alina Habba joined President Trump for dinner. That's what our sources tell us. So was this Donald Trump doing a bit of a job interview? People have also said, hey, maybe Matt Boyle, he's a reporter for Breitbart. Okay. A bit of an oddball pick. Odd Job would be Stephen Chung, right? It looks like Odd Job. They have other like random people from inside of the Trump orbit and other, press flacks and things. Spencer Pratt came up. Yo, is it going to be Spencer Pratt? A lot of people were saying, Spencer Pratt has done an amazing job. engaging with the press.
What do you think of that
engaging
choice,
with
you
corporate
guys?
media, engaging with libtards on the campaign trail. He had that incredible debate where they canceled all the other debates because Spencer Pratt did so well in the debate. Spencer Pratt for press secretary is spreading. Woohoo! I'll support anybody. But another name that popped up was Scott Jennings. Scott Jennings is a pundit at CNN. He also has a radio show. Spencer Pratt would not be on my bingo card, but he's a great communicator. I'd tune in. So, a lot of love for Lena, a lot of love for Spencer Pratt. They're all friends of the show, including Scott Jennings, who's been on the show. And now this. Ladies and gentlemen, TV star emerges as shock frontrunner to replace Caroline Leavitt. Secret Susie Wiles steakhouse dinner revealed. And desperate wannabe competitors are named. Oh, no. Here we go. Who was it? CNN political commentator, Daily Mail columnist Scott Jennings is being courted by Wiles. It can be exclusively revealed, Caroline Leavitt's shock resignation. It is his if he wants it, one source close to Jennings said at the press secretary job. And he does. Insiders say Trump has repeatedly made it clear that he would prefer a woman replace Leavitt at the podium, despite being a fan of Jennings, a former George W. Bush aide, known for his fiery defenses on CNN. 3 White House sources familiar with the selection process say that Jennings met with Wiles before Leavitt even formally announced her departure, and they were together again this last week at Morton's Steakhouse. They speak often. Jennings and Wiles were dining. Trump spent his Saturday at his Bedminster Golf Club next to telegenic and tenacious former attorney Alina Habba. So everyone's saying, okay, so who's going to be the horse here in this race? Yep. Listen, man, when it comes to personnel, ultimately, it's going to be President Trump who makes the decision, but Susie Wiles wields incredible power. And so, it just frankly can't be dismissed. If she has somebody who's going to be the favorite, well, Alina Habba was present alongside real estate mogul and close confidant Bill Pulte, as well as his aide Natalie Harp. Dinner at the President's New Jersey Golf Club. It was a scene of fierce competition. They're all trying to get in front of him this weekend. It's like The Apprentice, reeks of desperation. Other candidates include DHS Press Secretary, ex-spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin. We love her. Matthew Boyle, as we said. Elizabeth Plinko, White House Communications Director, so on and so forth. Okay, so some of the people from inside the comms team who do a great job. Caroline Leavitt. There you go. Who's it going to be? We'll see. On the topics of a third term, Jennings once publicly rejected speculation. Jennings obviously is somebody who Trump has maybe wanted to run for Mitch McConnell's seat. Trump is always floating that. He's close with President Trump. They do talk and speak, exchange, communication. CNN political commentator Scott Jennings being courted by Susie Wiles. Apparently the job is his if he actually does want it. It's Scott Jennings. And almost like he's doing his own version of The Apprentice, Scott Jennings has been posting his all-time banger list of CNN clips. These are all from like the last hour. So as the news rolls in that he's being considered here, Scott Jennings is alpha posting to be the next press secretary. Here's the role for Scott Jennings. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Who would you like to see as press secretary? Okay, here's Scott Jennings' self-posted sizzle reel.
Cops. What's your take?
99% of men would look and feel 10 times better if they dealt with their aromatase issue.
What's aromatase? Explain.
Yeah, so aromatase is this sneaky enzyme that confuses.
On January 6th. Meanwhile, this guy, this should be the lead story, is clearly suffering from massive mental decline. He is out of his mind with all of the show and tell procedures that go on in the Oval Office. 2 days ago, he gave 3 press conferences in a row. And if you don't think he has dementia, let's just discuss the time that when he was on the campaign trail, that he tried to perform oral sex on a microphone. If Joe Biden did this,
I hope this is what Democrats do next year.
ER.
If this is the Democratic strategy, Congratulations, America. You've already reelected Republican majorities as far as the eye can see.
Yeah, because Trump's approval is in the low 30s. It's in the low 30s right now.
Coming
up next for us.
But I'm saying my problem with you is that the outrage that you have on this particular issue versus an issue that really deserves the attention of the entire nation, which is the health and safety of our service members
We have not
that
even
are out
raised
at
that
war.
topic tonight.
But I'm just telling you, I'm saying
We have not raised
you
that
have
topic.
a choice.
You're pivoting
you have a
away.
choice to be outraged,
You're
and you're
pivoting
selectively
away.
outraged.
You're pivoting away from
I'm
a
not.
clear,
I'm saying-
despicable
I'm
attack.
saying-
You're a female staffer who climbed to the highest levels of politics. If someone insinuated that you had only done that because of sexual relations with a politician, you would be outraged, and I'd be outraged.
No, I would be outraged if the White House responded the way they did. That's what
By
I would be outraged.
defending you?
No, but by name calling, they didn't defend her. That wasn't a defense.
Yes,
of her.
they did.
1996, this man was abusing the law and the FBI did nothing. That should be what is most upsetting. And while the victims may not want their names, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. I'm talking about it. I'm not on any side. I feel like it's disgusting that she has to wait till 2025.
Well,
and decades after she listed, and we are still protecting this man like we're still pointing fingers.
And he's
It's
not even
disgusting,
alive.
and he's not even alive. Stop protecting him. It's disgusting.
I recognize you haven't reviewed all the material
anymore.
but I don't.
The percentage.
Who are you to tell me what I can and can't? I've never met you, brother. I can say whatever I want. They're illegal aliens, and that's what the law calls them, illegal aliens. That's what I'm going to call them.
Wow. He was right on that. I got 3 short ones, and then I got a Mark Z video. Probably go today. I think it's today. It's 14 minutes. I got on Telegram. This one's 30 seconds.
Constitution. It is. It's a violation of the Constitution. I'm out of order for y'all are doing illegal things to the state of Florida. It is out of order. 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 You are violating the Constitution. You are violating the Constitution.
All right. Okay, let's play a 3.5.
Made an agreement with Israel that Israel, through the NSA, would receive all of the intel. If they're using FISA 702, say to investigate terrorism, anybody that is linked to that person or in that sphere at all, they would use 702, and that all of that information goes to Israel, including American citizens or text messages or emails, like all of their communication goes, and it's not protected, it's not covered up. So say if they're spying on someone, say from Syria or someone from you name it, some foreign country, and they're in America and they're using 702 to investigate this person to prevent terrorism, right?
Right.
Any American that was even the next door neighbor, like however they were linked, they can use FISA and 702 on that American, and they don't protect the American citizen. They still give the information to Israel. So that agreement is still in place. And so, I mean,
right now that's still in place. So all that information is going to Israel, who's able to catalog it, collect it, holds it, use it, blackmail, whatever it is.
Yeah, and Israel just put out a list of the top 10 most their anti-Semitic list, their anti-Israel list. Tucker Carlson is on that list. Candace Owens is on that list. My name isn't on there, but I'm sure I'm somewhere on their list. But imagine if, say, our government decides that they're going to prosecute anti-Semitism, which shockingly has been talked about, then without warrant protections and protections for American citizens, a clean FISA 702 reauthorization could open up that type of spying on American citizens and that information being handed over to a foreign government. Let's take Israel off of there. It's ridiculous and absurd to think that information on American citizens who are guaranteed the right to privacy, that their information could be given to any foreign government.
Right.
Any foreign government. Right. And so there's a lot more at stake and dangerous when we're seeing the president tell Congress, just reauthorize it, clean, get it done, just get it done. And then what they're doing, just so you know what they're doing, is they're bringing in these members of Congress that are no votes, that Republicans, they'll bring them into the Oval Office. They pull chairs right up, because it's what they did to me several times. Put the chair right in front of the Resolute desk in the Oval Office, and then the president basically lectures you and scolds you for as long as it takes until they can convert you to a yes vote. And so it's unbelievable pressure, but I hope they can stand up to it. I voted no on the reauthorization when I was there. I know Thomas Massey is a no, but he has 3 amendments. He said if they pass my amendments that put warrant protections in place, he'll vote for it. I would have been in the same camp.
Lead us on Martin Taylor. Stay for the next 2 videos, Karen, Andy. I got Mark C 14 and that one guy I sent you the other day. His new one out. That's going to be 21. So I got 2 good ones coming up.
Story. The nutshell of the story is they are claiming that things went exceptionally well this weekend, and it is kicking off, and they will all get paid over the next 2 weeks. And towards the end of that, we'll be exchanging currency. This is what they have been told by their leaders, or should I say their paymasters, their attorneys handling things, their power of attorney, etc. So I had 3 different sources. 2 of them are on different continents. So cross your fingers. Hope and pray that that is all very accurate. I don't believe any of them have full-blown cash this morning, though. I am watching it. I should get some more updates throughout the week. All right, now let's dive into it. Meek, I don't know if I'd say September or not. It's possible. God, how many of the people told us September and we poo-pooed it so long ago? Now I'm feeling kind of like an idiot. Happens. I do not. That's not a can kick at all. That is hell yeah. If you can't read that news and be excited, there's something mentally wrong with you.
Today?
That's my opinion. All right, let's get into what we do see in the news. Let me hit that news story real quickly from Maria. Whoa. Just got exploded in the inbox. Let me try to catch up to this one.
That one, Billy Dean.
All right, from a Wells Fargo. So yesterday, Saturday, I accompanied my friend to a Wells Fargo branch. I'm reading somebody's email, guys, here. While waiting for her in the lobby, I saw the new machines in a glass-walled room. I asked an employee if they were the new currency exchange machines. She confirmed that, yes, they were. They had arrived just a couple of weeks earlier and told me that, for the time being, only their manager could use them, although 2 bank employees were training to operate them soon as part of the preparations for the new currency exchange system. Wells Fargo branch serving, well, let's just say, yeah, am I allowed to say these? And Winter Springs, Florida. I'm just going to leave it there. I'm not going to give which branch specifically. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. The young lady spoke Spanish, so there's a bonus if you're Spanish speaking for you. But there's out of Wells Fargo. Now think about this one, guys. Why do all of these banks, why are they all suddenly getting currency machines to verify? Have you spent much time in America? How often have you needed to exchange foreign currency? Is this like a regular thing that every branch, or not every branch, but many branches are now spending thousands, tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars to be able to exchange foreign currency for something that they already have a system for that works great, right? Well, it works well enough. If there are not going to be a lot of other currencies, they don't need this infrastructure. Just use your logical mind, wrap around that. Why would they be doing this? It's so many different banks across the country, different banks, different branches, etc., doesn't make much sense in a normal, nothing's going to change world, does it? Doesn't make any sense unless they are preparing for something. I thought that one was great. All right, let's get over here. At least I'm excited. The telecom minister claims the dinar denomination is finalized. He's, of course, drawing criticism. Many in the government doesn't think he should have said anything. Some of them saying, hey, wait, it's too soon. They're doing damage control because it is getting out there. This is normal. We have seen damage control. They don't want people knowing. Meanwhile, they're preparing for it and training people for it. They have contracts where they print it. They have to keep this as tight as they can because of this, the Soroses of the world. The people that love to crash currencies for money. Even Scott Bessent should know. He made a lot of money for some people crashing currencies back in the day. Now, let's keep moving forward. So the story starts because the telecom minister gives a leak. Mustafa Sanad stated in a televised broadcast the government decision to renomination the Iraqi dinar and delete 3 zeros from national currency is officially finalized. Sanad asserted that replacing the current banknotes will force hoarded cash back into the formal banking channels while eliminating an estimated $8 trillion in unexchanged currency tied to illicit gains, corruptions, lost funds. I talked to a contact over there. They believe as much as 40%, possibly as much as 50% of their currency will go completely out of circulation, that nobody will bring it forward because they have to show where it came from. So when we look at, do I have this one? Let's see. Nope, that's not the picture I was looking at. Oh, this one's going to suck, though, because it really does. All right, it's behind a little bit of a wall where you got to register for free. You can see the picture behind there. I can get it to pop up briefly for a moment. There is so much cash. We got pictures of it that they have recently confiscated again. You guys have seen so many pictures of where they have been going after illicit gains with these massive stashes. These are some that they found. Now think about all the ones they haven't found. Billions and billions of dollars that are illicit, that different ministers and committees, etc., have stashed away over the years. You can't come forward with them. So they want you to be forced to exchange to a new currency and bring it in. Now keep going on this one. This gets more and more interesting. Now, let's see. We talked about the telecommunications guy. Parliamentary Finance Ministry responds to the statements leading zeros and specifies the condition for raising the value of the dinar. This one's really pretty cool because you got to pay attention, read between the lines. Actually, you don't even need to read between the lines. You just have to use your logical thinking brain here.
I tried checking.
Bassem Al-Gharabi, member of the Parliamentary Finance Committee, commented on the statements and news circulating about the project to change the currency and delete the zeros, stressing the need to deal with this very file very carefully because of its direct repercussions on the economic stability and capital. The currency change is not ordinary news that can be released without calculating its repercussions, which is why it is so funky when they release this information or try to cover it or cloud it, as it is a very sensitive monetary issue that can affect the expectations of citizens, the movement of money, dollars, gold markets. Al-Gharabi said, stressing that the official and clear position is expected from the central bank and the competent authorities to show the reality of the project, its legal basis, its economic feasibility, and the timing of its implementation. Now, I love this one. These are some really big ones that you got to pay attention to right here. The member of Finance Committee added that the deletion of zeros in itself does not raise the value of the dinar or increase purchasing power, but rather shortens the numbers of facilities or facilitates some transactions, pointing out that the real economic reform begins with, and this is, here's your most important part. Real economic reform begins with the stability of public finances, the reform of the banking sector, the control of revenues, and the enhancement of confidence in the national currency. What have they been doing in these white reform papers? They've been cleaning up their banking system, making international. They've been going after fraud, removing currency. In other words, just reprinting the currency doesn't raise its value. It's all these other steps is what actually raises the value. Very, very important, guys, for all those that say they're just going to lop it and remove it. No, they're telling you right here, it's all those other parts that were important to raise the value. Now they get to print it. Al-Gharabi raised a fundamental legal question about the powers of implementation, saying, can the central bank implement the project with its current powers, or do the effects of contracts, debts, fines, judicial rulings, taxes, fees, special legislation from the House of Representatives. In other words, we keep hearing that they are going to need the House of Representatives in order to do it instead of the CBI just moving to change the value. So I thought it was just a great story because we've been reporting for months, years of the changes they're making to the system so that they can strengthen the value. I mean, these stories are great if you just keep reading them. Parliamentary finance removed the Iraqi zeros on the central bank. It's designed to simplify things, strengthen the power. It's just story after story after story. Iraq to drop zeros from its currency as NAR denomination returns. More of a deep dive. Why is the idea returning? There's no shortcut. You've got to do all the critical things like you got to get deposits in. You got to change the system. So many things as they talk about the fundamentals that they've been working on. In other words, this is not a get rich overnight quick thing. It has taken a decade, 2 decades to implement and make happen, which I keep telling folks. Oh, I can't believe you think you're going to get rich. This is not a get rich quick overnight scheme. Deleting zeros from the Iraqi dinar, expected economic reform or inflation risk. If it doesn't come with the reforms, if all they do is reprint change value, it comes with a serious inflation risk. So it's very important that they do all the other parts, like improve its banking system, get rid of the fraud, chase the illegal stuff in circulation, but also get more money in the banks. I've seen numbers as high as 80% or so of Iraqi dinars not in the banking system. This change in valuation and change in printed currencies brings it all back into the system. That is an enormous. Think of 80% of your potential out of circulation. That is a huge economic cork, a clogged, slow drain that could be flowing freely, bringing prosperity to the people. I just love it because they're talking about it nonstop throughout these articles. I highly suggest you folks take the time with some of those. Iraq seizes another $26 million in cash and more than 60 kilograms of gold as corruption sweep continues. It is going nonstop. Now, reprinting changing currency values, getting people to bring it in because they need motivation to bring it in. A change in value is your motivation. You bring it in because you want that new value.
Couple minutes.
I love watching this play out. It keeps going over and over and over. Right here over on X at Iraq Liberty. Currency switch, the surprise awaiting corruption. Very, very important because the U.S. is going to be in a very similar basket with this one. The new currency began arriving in Baghdad 10 days ago after it had been contracted for printing long ago. I believe it was 2017. We shared the government contract on here where they paid Delarue for the new currency. I believe it was 2017, 2018. We showed the expenditures for it on here where they printed the new currency. All right, surprise isn't the removal of zeros, but in the speed, suddenness, and mechanisms of the switch, such that no time is left to convert trillions of hoarded dinar into real estate or gold or to smuggle them out of the banking system. And the decisive questions to the bank doors, where did you get this from? Which can't prove at source will turn into colored paper. This is how they take care of the Soroses and all the people suddenly coming in at the last minute trying to scoop up a ton and affect value. You got to prove at source. U.S. dollar, greenback. It's used in probably 90% of all illicit crime in the world. It's a transaction. It's the grease. It's the money, man. You force a change or printing, think about how much that they can't come forward with. Over here, we just shared a story, 26 million sitting in U.S. cash. Think about what happens when when the world does that. All that illicit money sitting out there that's not supposed to be where it's at. It was made through government corruption, filtering, narcotics, human trafficking that won't be able to go back in the system. And boy, they are cracking down on it and talking about it openly in Iraq. Another good piece that came out of Iraq over the weekend, the Ascuda system or the Ascuda implementation between Erbil and Baghdad awaits final cabinet approval. So legislation is there. They're waiting for the cabinet to approve it. They expect it at any time. They'll discuss a little back and forth. That is one of the biggest pieces that was missing for HCL. So we get confirmation that it continues to move forward at a good clip. I love the news out of Iraq today or over the weekend, guys. It was phenomenal.
All right. That's the latest on Marxie. Now our other big one.
dinar since 2011.
21.
I'm not a financial advisor. This
Billy
video is
Bean will
not
be
financial advice. I am just sharing my own personal thoughts and opinions on the Iraqi dinar. I do believe that this will be one of the largest wealth events in our lifetime. That is my personal belief and conviction. And if you're here watching, you might be of that same assumption as well. So I'm glad you guys are here. Now, a lot has been happening over the last, 72 hours, right? This past weekend, news broke that the communications minister, released information that Iraq has made the decision to move forward with changing the currency, deleting the 3 zeros. And, I think it was the next day on Sunday, you had some members of parliament, trying to say, no, Iraq has not made a decision on the deletion of the 3 zeros. So, essentially they were trying to pull it back and walk back those thoughts. This article here came out, which kind of verified that. I thought it was quite interesting. It says, breaking: Iraq's government has not decided to remove zeros from the currency. Spokesperson Haider al-Ubadi says, adding that any such move would require legislation from parliament. There's been some arguments going back and forth. Well, does the CBI need approval from parliament to change the currency? That remains to be seen. But I thought it was interesting, right? Like, why would this person come out, this spokesperson, and say,
you guys okay
essentially
with this
counter,
one, right?
Counter what the communications minister said, right? I mean, at the end of the day, if this was going to be a flat redenomination, right, where they just chop off the zeros, it's a net neutral event, like, why are they being so, secretive or so careful with what they're saying, or why are they even walking back those comments? It really wouldn't be a big deal, right? Historically, when countries have redenominated, it's like, there's no really need to tell people or keep it a secret ahead of time, because it's like, it's going to be a net neutral event, right? You're going to exchange the notes you have for new notes. The value is going to be the same, right? So it's like,
not more good ones coming up.
You don't really have to
guys.
keep a tight lid on it. But here, it's quite obvious that this gentleman, the spokesperson, is, now, again, is this political theater, right? Did they want him to release that information, and now they're acting as if they're walking it back? No one really knows. But again, I thought it was quite interesting, that this gentleman came out and was trying to, walk back those comments. Okay. Before I continue in this video, guys, I want to just go over something real quick, because there's a lot of confusion around the deletion of the 3 zeros. Okay. I have been in this investment for 15 years. And from the beginning of this investment, it's been talked about, right? Are they going to delete the 3 zeros and they're just going to redenominate and it's going to be a wash for investors, or are they going to revalue and then, redenominate, essentially doing it together? Because either way, they're going to have to pull in, the old banknotes and reissue new lower denominations anyway, right? So I want to go over something with you that I think is very, very important. I haven't heard anyone go over this. And again, if we're having this discussion, like, you really need to know this, okay? So in Arabic, when they say, the phrase that is commonly appearing in the Iraqi discussion, and I'm going to butcher this, guys. I'm not Arabic, so please bear with me. But it says, "Hadaf al-asar min al-umla." It literally means deleting, removing the zeros from the currency. But the al-umla means currency, not specifically a banknote, and that is a very important distinction. If Iraq wanted to say specifically, we're removing 3 zeros printed on the banknotes, Arabic has a more specific way of expressing that. But the phrase that I just repeated describes a change to the currency system and unit. And in economic usage, it commonly refers to a redenomination, okay? And the recent language is even broader. Another phrase that has appeared in this discussion is tagar al-umla, meaning changing the currency. That's broader still. So when you hear that, it essentially means deleting the zeros and replacing the currency. Okay. Now, this is what deleting the zeros can, fully encompass. Okay. So it could encompass changing the unit of account, issuing new denominations, banknotes, converting prices, wages, deposits, and debts, exchanging old currency for new currency, withdrawing old notes from circulation, potentially running old and new currencies concurrently during a transition phase, changing accounting and payment systems, to the new unit. So, the 3 zeros aren't necessarily, being discussed as just, taking the 3 zeros off a $25,000 note, and now it's a 25 note, right? The deletion of the 3 zeros encompasses a wide array of things, not just physically taking the zeros off the banknote. Okay. And I think that's a very important distinction because, again, like if you don't know that, you just take it at face value from, what the English translation is, like, oh, they're just going to, lop the currency, right? They're just going to redenominate. It's going to be a net neutral event. And investors are going to walk away with nothing. Okay. So there's been a lot of fear, guys. There's been a lot of stress. I've had a few members, in our Dinar Den group, message me the last 24 hours. Like, oh my gosh, Stephen, like, what does this mean? Right. People are seeing articles come out saying that, that they're going to redenominate, right? It's all over for us. And this is exactly the news that I expected to happen just before a revaluation, or at least in the final stages of the revaluation, right? No one knows how much longer it's going to take. It could be, it could be a few weeks. It could be a few months. We don't know, right? But this is exactly what I expected. I always expected them to come out and, pretty much say they're going to redenominate their currency, or, they're going to chop off the zeros, right? I expected there to be a whirlwind of just, people in the community saying, oh, it's all over, we lost, like we're not going to get a gain from this. And the people that are already against the revaluation happening, those voices are only going to get louder because they think, oh, here's the proof that we've been waiting for, right? So let's just continue to post it, continue to share it. And then you have people that are having doubts and fears and worries. And, it's like, guys, this is exactly what you would expect. Iraq is never going to tell you they are going to revalue their currency. I have stated this many times before. I'll state it again. I'll state it as many times as I need to, okay? Iraq is never going to tell you if they're going to revalue their currency. So if you are looking for an article to come out today that confirms, oh, a revaluation is happening, that would actually concern me. I would be like, oh, it really is all over, because they would never just come out and say that. It would be economic suicide. It would be suicide for their entire country. Okay. Now, it is also very important to note, we do not yet have an official statement from the CBI confirming that they are moving forward with changing the currency and the deletion of the 3 zeros. Okay. I said this in my other video the other day. Why would the communications minister come out and make that statement that they are changing the currency, but the CBI has not yet formally, addressed it or made a statement on it? Things that make you think a little bit, right? Well, obviously he's sharing it because he knows something that we don't, and the CBI has not yet released it. So again, that we're still waiting on an official confirmation from the CBI that they are moving forward with this. Okay. Yesterday, I had a very interesting conversation with someone. He emailed me. He follows my YouTube channel. Very smart guy. His name is Jim. He is he ran a Forex, a hedge fund, I believe. Super sharp guy. And one of the questions I like to ask people is, how did you get into the Iraqi dinar? What made you believe in it? Why do you have the conviction you do in it? Right? Because everyone kind of has different opinions or different beliefs, or they were led to it, through different ways. And we were just talking about, again, the Iraqi dinar. And he made a statement that I thought was so profound, and I want to share it here with you guys, right? Whenever it comes to, and I've said this many times before, whenever it comes to what Iraq says and what they actually do, you have to look at what they're doing, not what they're saying, right? Like, look at everything they have been doing, banking reforms, banking restructuring, right? Going after corruption, trying to reduce the money supply. Now, what Jim told me was this. He goes, Stephen, a currency of a country is like stock to a business, right? When a business buys back stock, what generally happens? The stock price goes up. It becomes more valuable. It becomes more valuable because there's less of it, right? In crypto, what happens when when a company burns off their tokens and there's less tokens, right? Well, guess what? It's supply and demand. Those tokens become more valuable. And he made a comment comparing it to the Iraqi dinar. He goes, why would Iraq be reducing their money supply, or at least, implementing and having mechanisms to reduce their money supply. And I mentioned this in my video the other day, talking about how, they might be, getting rid of about 40, trillion dinar just through, a CBI mechanism, hopefully coming to pass, relatively soon. Why would they be doing that? Again, if a country just wanted to redenominate their currency, they could have done this a very, very long time ago. Okay. Everything has been very intentional with what Iraq has done over the last 20 or so years. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, right? Like, regardless of what I say, people are going to argue against this. You have people that will argue for it. Again, I always share it's a very faith-based investment, and that's why it takes a lot of faith to believe that this will be the return, on our investment that we are expecting it to be. Okay. Another thing I want to share. Some of you might follow his X handle is Reset Intelligence. His name is David. I've been exchanging emails with David. He's a very sharp guy. He puts out daily, news briefings and daily reports. He does his homework. He does his research. And last week, I emailed him and I said, hey, David, just out of curiosity, what was that light bulb moment for you that, made you want to invest in the Iraqi dinar, right? Because again, I highly respect his reporting, his research, and he goes very, very in depth with all of these geopolitical events, with Iran, with Iraq, he's on top of it. So I just wanted to ask him and just kind of get his opinion, right? So here's what he responded to me, because again, sometimes you guys just have to be reminded of why you are invested in this currency to begin with, right? Again, there's a lot of rumblings right now. There's a lot of turbulence. There's a lot of, stress and worry and, oh my gosh, is it going to happen? Sometimes you have to take a step back, take a deep breath, right? and just remind yourself, why was this a feasible investment, to begin with in the first place? So this is David's response to me from Reset Intelligence as to why, he decided to invest in the Iraqi dinar. Okay. He goes, Stephen, good question. And I will give you the honest version. There was no single light bulb moment. It was the moment the separate stories stopped looking separate. Once you see Iraq, the banks, Iran, the gold, and the payment rails as one coordinated move instead of a dozen unrelated headlines, you cannot unsee it. And the conviction comes from the pattern holding up every time I test it. Without getting too heavy into it, I also think some people were led to this to be tested on whether they would dig or stay on the surface. The ones who do their homework, like you, are the ones who will be ready. He gives me the top 5 reasons why he believes in the revaluation of the Iraqi dinar. Okay. So the first reason he gives is the price is nowhere near the country. Iraq sits on about 145 billion barrels of proven oil. It's 4th to 5th in the world, plus vast, largely underdeveloped gas. And the dinar is still pinned at a program rate of roughly 1,300 to the dollar. No country worth that much holds its own currency that low for 20 years by accident. The second reason he gives is the suppression was deliberate. The pin was held while the system was drained through Iraq's banks into Iran, which is the whole spine of the book. If you cut that off, and the reason to keep the dinar goes down with it. That cutting off is exactly what we are watching now. So essentially, getting rid of the corruption, getting the claws of Iran off of the country of Iraq. That's what he's referring, to here, right? Essentially, Iran was using Iraq as like a money laundering country, right? Anytime they wanted money, they would just launder it. And on a side note, I think it's funny that the other day, PM al-Zaidi was meeting with Iran's prime minister. Iran was requesting, I think it was like $11 billion from Iraq. So now, instead of just taking it like they normally would, now they essentially have to fill out a withdrawal slip to try to get their money from Iraq. I thought that was quite interesting, right? And it goes to show Iran no longer has the power over Iraq that they did. And that's a huge step in this process. And that's what David is referring to here as well, okay? David's third reason for believing in the revaluation. He goes, the plumbing is being rebuilt worldwide at once. SWIFT moved cross-border messaging to ISO 20022 in November. The settlement rails are being tokenized and gold is being pulled back toward the center of the banking system under Basel III. You do not rewire the entire payment system for nothing. Number 4, it is not just Iraq. The same shape is showing up across a basket of currencies at the same time, coordinated, not isolated, which is what tells you it is a design and not a coincidence. Now, again, this is speculation, right? Some people say, oh, well, there's going to be a basket of currencies that are all going to revalue together. No one knows that for certain. David, he seems like he believes that's exactly what's going to happen. It's still speculation. Okay. So, no one can confirm or deny that's true, but that's just his own thoughts when it comes to that. Okay. And then the last reason he goes, number 5, the tide on awareness has turned. The corruption is being uncovered in coordination now, not in scattered pieces. And that only happens when something bigger is being set right underneath it. And then he goes on to say, the one thing I will not hand you is a date. Nobody outside the room has that. And anyone who gives you one is guessing or selling. So hold it the way I do. He is certain on the event, patient on the timing. And he says, I am preparing exactly as you are. And we wait only on the when. So again, the reason why I wanted to share David from Reset Intelligence's response to me is because, again, right now there's a lot of people that are just scared. They're fearful. They're running around with their hair on fire saying, oh my gosh, like, what do we do? What do we do? Right? It's like, this was always the playbook, guys. Before the revaluation happened, there was always going to be a misinformation campaign. There was always going to be a lot of loud noise surrounding this, trying to throw you off, trying to get you to have doubts and fears and worries. And that's really what we're seeing right now. I mean, this past weekend changed the game, okay? The news that broke Saturday night, like that news alone changed the game. And moving forward, yes, we are going to be in for a bumpy ride regarding the news cycle, okay? I'm steadfast. I'm holding firm in my convictions and my belief. I know many of you are as well. You guys aren't, a lot of you are not getting rattled or shaken. And, listen, this is a faith journey, guys, right? I have said this from the very beginning, from the first video I ever made and put on YouTube. This is a faith-based investment because you cannot, sometimes justify a massive revaluation logically. We're looking at a country that this will be the first time any country has done what Iraq has done, right? We can compare, we can draw comparisons from Kuwait to Iraq and say, oh, well, and yes, that is true. There are some similarities there, but what Iraq is getting ready to do is the first time this has ever really been done before, ever. So when people say, oh, well, I asked ChatGPT or I asked Grok or I asked, my AI if the revaluation is going to happen, and it said no.
Hey,
it's like,
L'Oreal,
obviously,
Billy
because
B
AI
coming
uses
up
historical
next,
data,
18 minutes.
really to back the responses that they give, right? So, why would you expect anything else, right? So, I truly believe the next few weeks, the next few months, no one knows when this is going to go down. No one knows when this is going to happen, but we are entering a time where, this is going to separate the boys from the men. Okay. And, if you are a faith-based person, if you are a believer, I highly recommend stay in prayer, stay in faith, because a lot of people are going to get rattled, and, it's normal. And I've always known this was exactly how it is going to go down. Okay. So, you might want to buckle up, guys. Things are going to get interesting. I personally am very, very excited. I had a lady message me from our Dinar Den group last night, and she was stressed out. She was worried because she's reading all these articles saying, "Oh my gosh, Stephen, like, what are they saying? Are they going to redenominate the currency, and are we going to make anything?" And she goes, "You must be super stressed, just having had a baby and 2 kids." And I responded, I'm like, "No. I'm excited, right? This is exactly the news I expected to see before any type of revaluation. This tells me we are entering the final stages of this entire thing, coming to fruition. Okay. So again, there's going to be a lot of happy people. There's going to be a lot of upset people. I believe if you own Iraqi dinar, we are going to be in the happy camp, right? And, really the same way, like when Peter was walking on the water, when he was walking towards Jesus, as soon as he started to look at the storm and look at the waves, what happened? He started to sink, right? Keep your eyes on him, guys. Stay in prayer. Block out the noise too, because if you're constantly on X and constantly taking in all the articles and you're getting stressed and you're getting worried, and everyone and their mother is getting their opinion on this, right? Like just random people telling you it's never going to happen. Like, what else would you expect, right? That's always the way things were going to happen. Like there's going to be a lot of doubt, a lot of fear around this. Okay. And if we didn't have that, this probably wouldn't be the investment that we all hoped it would be, right? Like when you look at, gambling odds, typically if you gamble on the underdog team, the team that has, like 1% chance of winning, the odds pay the biggest odds because they weren't expected to win, right? Well, if the dinar is going to pay us the odds that we're hoping and believing and praying that it's going to pay us, why would you think that people are not going to be against it, talk against it? Or why do you think, Iraq would intentionally try to throw us off the scent as well, right? It's like, of course that would be the case. Why wouldn't it be the case? So I guess I'm going to leave it there. I feel like I rambled a little too much in this video, but again, if you hold Iraqi dinar, guys, hold fast, okay? Pray about it, follow the peace. I have always said this, and I'll continue to say it again. God did not take you this far just to take you this far. And if you are invested in the Iraqi dinar, if you've been in this for many years like myself, there's a reason why we're involved in this investment. That's my belief, okay? That's my belief. That's my own personal conviction. And every single time I have always prayed about this or asked God for a sign or, Lord, am I in the right investment? Lord, am I involved in the right thing? Like, is this really going to happen? Every single time I hear this still small voice that just says, just trust me. And I'm going to leave it there. Just trust him. Okay. So I love y'all. I hope.
Hey, that's the new guy that we've been playing the last couple of days. All right, another big video. Now we got Billy B now. Followed by a 9-minute Doug video and a couple other JM reports. And then we'll get to the short videos. Oh, my.
Millions to people in extremist groups.
Ah, dang it.
Time in Texas about 1 p.m. Some of the things we'll cover: global drought, President Trump, message me, and stock market crash, and also China using a new shipping route called the Arctic Silk Road, and what's up with Iran and UAE. So we have this from Bushcraft Bear. The Rhine River is down so low in Germany that there are no ships traveling through it. And now in Germany, they had a measure that trucks could not drive on the Autobahn on Sundays, but they have lifted that because they're having to do more shipping by truck than ship. So we see also in Texas and much of the U.S. high fire danger because of drought conditions, high temperatures, and high wind. Europe is also experiencing the same. So that's going on. We have this from Space Weather, NASA NOAA. Sunspot 4507 has the potential to release X flares today. And we have this, that there's a new crater on the moon near Einstein crater that was made by a SpaceX satellite. We covered that a couple of weeks ago. And also a SpaceX rocket landed in the Indian Ocean near the Australian territory, Christmas Island. That happened today. The rocket came in over the ocean, reversed itself, and set down on the ocean and then floated. It's currently being towed. We have this about a topic, Noahide laws. And according to Noahide laws, if you read the Bible or speak the name of Jesus, you can be jailed or executed. And this Noahide law push on a global basis is being sponsored by Israel. A World Congress will be meeting in Jerusalem November 2 to 6, 2026. So that's going on. And we have this from France, that drinking water in a part of France, Alsace, is having to be brought in by trucks because they're out of drinking water. We're also experiencing that in Texas and some parts of Corpus Christi. So we see more evidence to support that we are having a global drought. They have not had rain in weeks. And additionally, in France, they have another 550,000 people at risk for losing their drinking water source. We have this from Military Summary. In Ukraine, a group out of the U.S., NABU, is investigating Ukraine government corruption. So that's going on. And the Ukraine parliament is working with NABU. And there are protests going on in Ukraine now by the people. And also we understand some government employees who want a president election. We know that currently under the Ukraine Constitution, Zelensky is not the president. His term ran out about 2 years ago. So that's going on. And we have this. Also, for another so some of the information I just gave came from an ex-source, Silence Sire. This one's coming from an ex-source, Jack Prodil. Talking about China having a new shipping route, Arctic Silk Road, that uses Russia's Arctic route. So that's going on. And it's via Russia's northern shipping route along the Arctic coast. The trip takes about 20 days. And does away with China having to go through the Suez Canal, the Strait of Hormuz, or through the Red Sea. So that's going on. And we know, I've been hearing for about 10 years, information about the Arctic melting as a part of what we're experiencing now, global climate change. And we did see Russia securing that area. So that's going on. We have this from an ex-Megatron.
At University of Phoenix, learn skills employers value and apply them right away.
I was 52 years old. I thought shingles was for old.
That the U.S. has transferred Venezuela's gold, currently being held or had been held in the UK and the Bank of England. The US has transferred $4 billion worth of gold, 31 tons, from the UK to the US. And we have this. We have that the US Treasury, regarding the Japanese market, that the U.S. will absorb billions of dollars worth of U.S. bonds to prop up the Japanese yen. This will be, and Japan is selling to prevent Japan from selling up to $1.4 trillion worth of U.S. treasuries and bonds. So we see Scott Bessent propping up the Japanese currency. We have this from Daily Mail, that a robot in Detroit working for Stellantis automaker who produces Chryslers, Dodge, Rams, and Jeeps. Last year, an employee at the Detroit plant was killed by a robot. His arm was crushed. So that's going on. And we have this. The reason it's coming out now is because Stellantis is being sued. We have this from Stephen Gardner. 14 have been arrested at Penn State now on charges of selling and distributing cocaine. Apparently, there was one off-campus fraternity sponsored by Penn State who was involved, and one off-campus fraternity not sponsored by Penn State. But 14 people have been arrested, including one father. The father is charged with tampering with evidence. So that's going on. And we have this. We have that regarding the Strait of Hormuz, that the U.S. military has demined the Strait of Hormuz, according to Max Afterburner. So it's in good shape for ships to safely traverse it in terms of no mines being present. The U.S. military currently has underwater machines operating 24/7 to keep the Strait of Hormuz clear from mines. And we have this. Within the past 24 hours, Iran launched 2 ballistic missiles toward the UAE, which Iran denies, but they both fell short of reaching the UAE. However, by midnight last night, the UAE had cut all ties to Iran, including trade. So that's going on. And we have this, that the Department of War, and I would have to believe also the DOJ must be involved in this, has notified 30 U.S. universities and colleges that they have 2 weeks to cut all ties to the CCP or lose their money that they're receiving, since the Department of War is spearheading this. Apparently, these universities are receiving money from the Department of War in some way. So that's going on. And we have this from David Nino Rodriguez, that ABC is currently suing the FCC. The FCC is the Federal Communications Group that license TV stations, radio stations, and so on. ABC alleges that this move by the FCC to do early review of their license is a political move from President Trump and his team. So we'll see. I will state this. Recently, President Trump addressed the nation, and none of the mainstream medias carried it. ABC, NBC, CBS. So what can we, the American people, see with our own lying eyes? That the mainstream media is concretely working against not only President Trump, but the American people. David Nino Rodriguez believes ABC is trying to stop what could be coming up very soon in the U.S., an emergency EBS emergency broadcast system speech by President Trump. We're the President of the United States, acting as acting as the head of our safety group in the U.S. military.
With 3 smart trim levels to choose from and above par, everyone can select their own style and enjoy a great drive. Lease a 2026 Equinox LT for $249 a month. Chevy Detroit. Together, let's drive.
Principles for Success, an ultra mini series adventure in 30 minutes and in 8 episodes.
CIC, in his role, the president can preempt all stations at maybe half an hour notice to address the American people in the event of a national security situation. So that's going on. We have this from U.S. Intel. We are seeing an Asia stock market crash that possibly could impact the U.S. stock market. So we had this morning, within the first 30 minutes of the Asia stock market opening, $100 billion in loss. And we see Korea took a dip of 5.8%, China 3.5%, Japan 3.1%, Taiwan 2.1%. And we see now, this is how it will spread to the U.S. stock market, China and Japan dumping U.S. treasuries. So that's going on. And we have U.S. bond sales significantly down for 10-year and 20-year U.S. bonds, and the 30-year posting the highest interest rate ever seen, 5.33%. And the U.S. Treasury is buying back up to $4 billion worth of U.S. stocks by September. And we see in Japan, U.S. bonds are also being dumped, and that U.S. treasuries and U.S. bonds are now down. And this could lead to hits in the U.S. on the U.S. mortgage market, stocks, crypto, and gold. So that's going on. We have this from Enforcer. We do see NATO surrounding a Russian enclave, Kaliningrad, yesterday. We do not know why. We don't have any more details on this. But we do have April 18 yesterday, France expelling Iran diplomats because France had learned that French diplomats in Iran had been interrogated and tortured. So that's going on. And we have from Dialogue Works an interview with Scott Ritter. President Trump has stated there are no negotiations going on with Iran. However, back channels reveal that messages are moving back and forth between Iran and President Trump. So President Trump messaged me. So that's going on. This concludes my update. I love you, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, Billy Bean for today. Now we got Fort and Doug video, 9 minutes.
And supported a mass.
The man who tried to kill Scott Bessent, Janine Pirro, just arrested him. That's the
big bombshell news. I'm going to give you more on what this guy tried to stop Bessent from doing, which is save the country's entire financial system. Here's Janine Pirro.
A man who intended to kill incoming Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, was sentenced today to 73 months in prison by federal Judge Contreras, or 6 years in prison, as a result of his attempted assassination of incoming Secretary of the Treasury. On January 27th, the defendant English decided that he would take the life of the Treasury Secretary. Unfortunately, we are seeing more and more of these cases where people think that they can come from all over the country and act out their political violence in the nation's capital. And in this particular case, the defendant made it very clear that he didn't want to be identified or caught by making sure that he left behind his cell phone, that there could be no tracking, that he used Atlas Cash app so that he could purchase what he needed to accomplish his goal of killing and burning the incoming Secretary of the Treasury. This kind of political violence will not be tolerated. And even though on January 27th of 2025, English decided that he would surveil and he was scouting Bessent, and he said that he knew he would probably have to take out 3 Capitol Police officers in order to get to his goal of assassinating Bessent and burning him to death, he was willing to do it. Because of this violence, we asked for 121 months in prison. The judge made a decision not to grant that. The defendant said that because he has been wrestling with transgender issues, that he should be given a lighter sentence.
It's another transgender assassin after the Trump administration. By the way, Bessent is gay. So now you have a trans leftist coming after a gay MAGA member of the administration because the Democrat Party is lying when they say they're pro-LGBTQ. No. If you're on the wrong side, they'll come after you. Here's the actual follow-up of that article. It says, here's the 26-year-old man was sentenced to 73 months, 6 years in prison for attempting to assassinate Scott Bessent. 26-year-old Ryan Michael English, and I don't know what gender he is. I don't even care. He's a murderer or an attempted murderer. You got to go to jail, kid. This is on the financial side of things. Scott Bessent just saved the bond market single-handedly. Bessent boasts debt buybacks after yields hit multi-decade highs. Don't worry, guys, I'll explain it to you. That was from Bloomberg. The U.S. Treasury announced it's ramping up buybacks of long-dated government debt after yields on such securities hit the highest levels in years. So when there's a threat of these yields are just interest, of rising on long-term securities, say 10, 20, 30 years security, the government goes and buys them back. So it's like buying stuff that's worth garbage. And that's so that it frees up capital of the people that originally bought them to be able to put the money back into the market and keep the interest rates down. Okay? That's kind of how it works. It's kind of like if everyone has a bunch of Beanie Babies and they're all getting worthless, then the president of Beanie Babies might go in and buy a bunch of worthless Beanie Babies in the market and pull them off the market, give those Beanie Baby collectors a bunch of money so they can spend it again. And it gives them, the market, money, confidence. Forget that for a second. This is about James Thorne. These are strategists saying he didn't learn yields at a Fed seminar. That he's talking about Bessent. Scott Bessent learned yields, currency crosses, and sovereign risk with real capital on the line, not from a Fed seminar. I keep saying it. Scott Bessent is the most consequential Treasury Secretary since Alexander Hamilton at the founding of our country. Trump really got the right guy on this one, and no one can mess with this guy. He learned them in real capital on the line as a global macro investor navigating the world's biggest market. That is not his failure, it's yours. I'm going to get into how you can protect your money too. We have a lot of that stuff, but here's how the internet responded to Scott Bessent. With a little help from Scott Bessent, today is the day of rate-sensitive assets. Gold is up Bitcoin's up. This is all of the people that are following all of these crypto coins. See the spike here? He goes, thank you, Scott Besson. I learned how to read all these markets from Ross Givens. Ross Givens and I are putting on a seminar today. That's today at 3 o'clock Eastern time. I want you guys to sign up. If you're interested, it's free, okay? You're going to go to DougsInsiders.com. There's a link in the description. You click it, you sign up. Here it is. It's today, August 19th at 3 p.m. Eastern. That's 2 o'clock my time in Central. You click this register now, and you cannot get into the webinar unless you put your, I think it's your email, but for sure your phone number, and they'll send you a text, and then boom, you go in. You listen to the.
If you sit down, push, and only a little poop comes out, you have what doctors call a poop court. The Mayo Clinic confirms that a poop court can cause.
Happy that this is Scott Besson. He's not giving refund tax credits to illegal migrants anymore, saving taxpayers $3 billion. The Trump administration is cutting illegal immigrants off from getting kickbacks from 4 major refundable tax credit programs in a move that could save taxpayers an estimated $3 billion. The Treasury Department and IRS unveiled new rules on Wednesday to tighten the requirements for the adoption, child, American opportunity, and earned income tax credits so that only U.S. citizens, U.S. nationals, and qualified aliens can get them. This is, in a way, another way to financially undermine that birthright citizenship thing going on at the Supreme Court. Quote, under President Trump, the days of illegal aliens collecting taxpayer-funded benefits are over. The federal law is clear and Treasury is enforcing it. Treasury Secretary Scott Besson said in a statement, American taxpayers should not be forced to foot the bill for benefits going to those who are barred by law from receiving them. Guys, give us a thumbs up if you agree that we should not be paying benefits, tax benefits out to illegal aliens. These proposed regulations end the abuse, protect the integrity of the tax system, and put America first. And then finally, this is on tariffs, which is what kind of got us into all of this with Scott Besson. This is from the White House. Quote, I have paused the 50% tariffs against Canada, says Trump, that were scheduled to kick in tomorrow morning for a 3-day period. So that's a threat to them, based on the fact that Canada and the USA, subject to the finalization of documents, have a deal. So we negotiated a deal with Canada to avoid this tariff. The great Keystone XL pipeline, this is the thing that Biden canceled out. The Keystone pipeline, long ago killed by sleepy Joe Biden, may be awakened from the grave, Donald J. Trump. If we get that oil flowing again, American oil, and be able to bring it in to our country or export it out, that's what we need, is more flow of fuel, which undermines Iran again, and Canada might finally be helping us. Good news with Scott Besson, Trump and the economy, and Janine Pirro doing her job, arresting that goon that tried to kill the greatest treasurer of the Secretary of Treasury that we've ever had in American history. Don't forget to sign up for.
Okay, that's the latest on Doug. I got 8 minutes of JM.
Things. But hey, free waffles always make you forget. Tonight, La Quinta. Tomorrow, you shine.
And very quickly, people analyzing the posts determined that this was a military intelligence operation. And there were frequent references to, future proves past, and references to time travel. And what was emerging was that this Q movement, or the people behind the Q posts, that they were using time travel technology. We know one of those technologies is called a chronovisor, and actually that was mentioned in one of the Q posts, that this chronovisor gives the ability to be able to see into the future.
And now we're at a period of time where all of that is changing.
How would you like to jump in on this on Baron Trump, time travel, and anything that we just unpacked with Tom?
Yes, well, I think that the Colonel's correct that Nikola Tesla was very much involved in the early time travel experiments that were being conducted by the US Navy. The Philadelphia experiment is a good example of that some of his patents would have observed temporal anomalies arising when you generate high voltage electrostatics, which would have been part of the design of the craft, the spacecraft, the patent that he took out. And what's interesting is that Professor John Trump, the uncle of President Trump, when he was at MIT, that he was given the task by the FBI to explore the Tesla papers to identify anything that was of national security interest, and they took away the best stuff and allowed the rest to be taken away. So, that does raise the very interesting possibility that the Trump family early on were exposed to this kind of time traveling technology. So that brings us to the question of Baron Trump. And there's an author who wrote a series of books in the late 1800s, early 1900s that concerned a character, Baron Trump, who was able to do these incredible things, and time travel, as I recall, was one of those things. And the same author also wrote a book called The Last President. And that book talked about a time when there would be this final president of the United States, that the United States would dissolve. And so what we are facing now with the announcement of not just that extraterrestrial life is real, but that the Earth is going to enter into this new phase of becoming an interplanetary and even an interstellar society, and that the United States is very likely going to expand in a way where President Trump may well be the last president of the 50 states that make up the United States. But if you have other countries, and we're talking about Canada, Greenland, Mexico, possibly even Israel, joining an expanded United States that would have this kind of leading role in taking the Earth into this kind of interplanetary, interstellar civilizational phase, then I think time travel is very important, and the Trump family is pretty much right in the center of that. And I'm not even mentioning the Q movement, which also was linked to time travel.
Wow. Well, elaborate on that, if you will, sir, before we unload Tom Lennox. Talk about that last statement, the Q. Can you elaborate a little bit on Q and time travel, or whatever aspect you want to bring to the table?
Well, the Q movement, as many are aware, emerged in the first Trump administration in 2017, and very quickly people analyzing the posts determined that this was a military intelligence operation, and there were frequent references to future proves past, and references to time travel, and what was emerging was that this Q movement, or the people behind the Q posts, that they were using time travel technology. We know one of those technologies is called a chronovisor, and actually that was mentioned in one of the Q posts, that this chronovisor gives the ability to be able to see into the future. And so the Q movement was using that to really awaken the American public and the world public to the existence of this pedophile, satanic worshipping global elite that for many decades, even centuries, have been using all of these advanced technologies, including time travel, to be able to manipulate the rest of humanity and to use its mass media resources to get humanity to collectively manifest world wars, starvation, poverty, and so forth. And so the Q movement flipped that around, because the Q movement was using time travel technology to give information about what the future was going to be or could be. And it inspired hundreds of thousands, even millions of people around the world to collectively manifest this future, so that the timeline that the pedophile satanic elite wanted to take us down, which would have been World War III, poverty, destruction, control, manipulation, has been replaced by this new positive timeline where humanity would openly start working with extraterrestrial civilizations. The Galactic Federation would eventually openly reveal itself, and we would become partners and members of the Federation, and we would become an interstellar civilization with all of these advanced technologies being revealed.
We are at war, and we must unite in truth.
Okay, so that one he had a guest on. Now this regular report. Nine minutes or less.
The following report has been provided in part by Guardian Daniel R. War Report. Sovereignty Decree. The forensic cleanse of the digital matrix. Why the Allied extractions of repressive network rails forces the physical transition. The unstoppable expiration of corrupted server structures controlled via the deep state, coordinated shutting down of civilian surveillance channels, and the irreversible launching of the Allied Network Cleansing Protocol within the new Transformation Corridor, Allied Enforcement Protocol. Let's break it down. Listen up. There comes a moment when a broken system can no longer be patched. For years, the old internet has been repaired from the outside, while the deeper problems remained hidden inside. New updates, new passwords, and new policies. New warnings. New security layers placed over foundations that were already weak. The public was told that everything was under control, while behind the scenes, the same vulnerabilities continued to grow. Backdoors, data leaks, identity theft, scam networks, fake accounts, digital manipulation, broken platforms, hidden tracking, financial blocks, silent censorship, systems that watch the people more than they protected them. This is why the digital cleanse has now begun. A new internet cannot be built upon corrupted rails. A secure future cannot depend upon weak access points. A protected financial system cannot move through channels filled with fraud, theft, and manipulation. A new digital identity structure cannot be connected to old systems that were never designed to defend the people. Before the new can rise, the old must be cleaned. This cleanse is not chaos. It is not panic. It is not the end of communication. It is the removal of weakness before the next connection becomes visible for us. It is the pressure placed on hidden networks, corrupted channels, exposed systems, and digital gates that have been used for control instead of protection. The people may see instability. They may see platforms acting strangely. They may see services slowing down. They may see sudden restrictions, unusual outages, blocked access, failed logins, delayed payments, and confusing signals across the digital world. And these reports are starting to come across social media, if one looks. But not every disruption is random. Sometimes disruption is a sign that the old structure is being tested. Sometimes instability reveals where the weakness was hidden. Sometimes the system must shake before the hidden cracks can be exposed. And sometimes the darkness of the old signal is the first step toward a cleaner, stronger, protected network. The next era must be different. It must be safer, harder to manipulate. It must protect identity, communication, access, and financial movement. It must reduce the power of scammers, gatekeepers, and hidden digital traps. And it must serve the people, not harvest them. And that is why the cleanse matters. The old internet taught people to accept danger as normal. It taught them that stolen data was normal. Hacked accounts were part and parcel. Fake support messages were normal. Scams, links were normal. Locked accounts were normal. Shadow restrictions were normal. Being watched, tracked, profiled, and manipulated was normal. None of this is normal. It was simply tolerated for far too long. The digital cleanse is the beginning of a different standard, a standard where access must be protected, where identity must be verified safely, where communication must be cleaner, where financial movement must be stronger, where digital systems must be designed around security and not control, where the people are not left vulnerable while hidden structures profit from confusion. The old system will not like the cleanse. It will resist. It will create noise. It will blame everything except its own weakness. It will try to make the people afraid of the transition because fear keeps people attached to what is familiar, even when what is familiar is broken. But fear is not the path forward. Discipline is, awareness is, and preparation is. If digital systems become unstable, remain calm. Do not click unknown links. Do not trust random messages. Do not give anyone your private keys, seed phrases, passwords, wallet access, documents, or payment information. Do not follow panic. Do not spread fear. Verify everything. Protect your family. Protect your accounts. Protect your peace. The cleanse is not about losing the digital world. It is about removing what poisoned it. It is about clearing the old channels before a stronger connection can come online. It is about preparing the way for quantum safe protection, secure identity, clean access, stronger financial rails, and a new internet built for what comes next. The old internet is cracking. The signs before the blackout have already appeared. The signal may go dark, and now the digital cleanse has begun. And the old networks are being exposed, and what comes next will not be built upon weakness. Be sure to watch our 2 new broadcasts here at JMC Broadcasting, Fireside Chat with JMC.
Okay, now we're going to do some short videos. I got the cowboy guy, just got him set up here. Cat lady too.
And I believe that the world is about to experience some very biblical events in the days ahead. Now, a lot of people know about what's going on with strikes that have just taken place in Iran with the U.S. and the Israel killing the leader in Iran and his whole family. And everybody likes to think that these people are somehow capable of striking the U.S. But what you need to understand is that is not the threat, because China just came out recently and made a statement and said that any attack on Iran will be considered an attack on Chinese interests because they get the majority of their oil from Iran and they get the rest of their oil from Venezuela. And that's where we just went in and took out the leader of Venezuela and have created a regime change. And the president of the United States just came out and said that he wanted to see regime change in Iran. Now, if you think about what's going on here, right? Because the Bible tells me in 1 Thessalonians that for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction shall come upon them, and they shall not escape. And just at a time when we see the leader of this nation has appointed the Board of Peace, a lot of y'all know about this, he literally went and took part in a strike that could literally spark World War III. And I believe that that's where we're heading, ladies and gentlemen. But the bigger picture here is for America is what have they been telling you that they've been doing for the past 10 years or more in this country? They've been marching tens of millions of these so-called illegal immigrants across the border in Eagle Pass, Texas, and putting them on charter buses and sending them to every major U.S. city. And they told us over and over and over on the news, these are not women and children. these are fighting aged males, and you see these videos of these known terrorists that were coming through the border, and they were saying, you might not know who we are now, but very soon you're going to know who we are. And you see these CIA agents that are on Sean Ryan's podcast talking about how they are planning a very major 9/11 style attack. Now, I want you to picture something here, and I'm not telling you this to bring fear into your heart. I'm telling you this because you need to be preparing your house and your heart and get close to the Lord Jesus. The Bible says, seek the Lord while he may be found, call upon him while he is near, right? But if you think about how they have over 20 million of these men from all of these nations, and we're seeing these people start all of these conflicts, and they're telling us they're gonna walk in and do some kind of 9/11 style attack, and she's saying that what they're planning is putting 100,000 plus of these people in all of these major cities, and they're going to go in one day and walk into schools and daycares and hospitals and college campuses and all of these places and do all of these evil things. I don't have to go into detail. I think you've got a pretty good idea of what I'm talking about. You need to be thinking about the days ahead, right? Preparing your heart first and foremost, and getting everything in your life that separates you from the Lord Jesus Christ out of your life. Jesus said, if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and cast it away from you, for it'll be better for you to enter into heaven without it than into hell with it. Ladies and gentlemen, we see the signs all around us. We see these things coming to pass, and you can go back to the book of Daniel. There's a lot of things that are not as they seem in this moment, and I believe.
Okay, I only got one so far. Okay, the cat lady up next. I got 3 of them, I think. And then I got 4-part Bernie Sanders.
You know, I thought I was going to do something proactive. So I was going to reach out to an attorney and ask him about a class action lawsuit against TikTok for censoring conservatives. So then I come on here and I give you guys the number and I tell you what to do. And what do I know? Here we go with the comments. They donated millions of dollars to Kamala Harris. They're Democrats. They're this, they're that. Well, what did y'all do? Did y'all find an attorney? Did y'all try to take a step besides just get on TikTok and bitch? Number one, they did not donate millions to Kamala Harris. It literally took me 30 seconds to find that out. They probably are Democrats. You think they're going to turn down millions of dollars in a class action lawsuit? Then you come up with an attorney. But then there's another thing going on. It's just exhausting being on this app, guys. It's just unbelievable. You know, I come on here yesterday and it's got a lot of views, thousands of views. You know, I was out feeding stray cats in a storm. My hair looks jacked up. My makeup's running because it's so freaking hot. I'm carrying water jugs. I'm wrangling cats. And y'all just come on here and go, well, I know she's wearing a kitty cat tank top under that. You can tell from her makeup, whatever the fuck that means. And that's a friend on TikTok. So then I go to the profile, they're anti-Trump. So that's how you're being reported, is these people who pretend they're your friends. They follow you, you follow them back because you don't really have the time to go look, and they're reporting everything you do. And it doesn't matter what I come on here and say, TikTok is going to violate me. If I come on here and I speak the truth and I tell you something, I violated the community standards immediately. I'm exhausted. I don't have time for this. I've got so much going on in my life. And I really, to be honest with you, I really don't feel like being told how fucking old, whiny, ugly, and wrinkly I am by people who don't even have a profile picture. And it's like, all y'all do is attack somebody's looks just for telling you what the Muslim mayor said. And then I get the whole, oh, y'all don't mind Dr. Oz. No, we don't mind Dr. Oz. We don't mind Muslims. What we mind is Islamic extremism. And I'm probably going to be violating community standards by saying the whoopsie word. Are you guys sick of it? What do you think about this? What if I create a Facebook group that's just for us, and we vet each other to make sure that there are no lunatics coming in on our group? I know a lot of you, because you send me cat food and we're very good friends. What do you think about starting a Facebook group? And all of us like-minded conservatives have our own group. We don't have to worry about all this bullshit because I'm so tired of it. Let me know what you think. And if you come back, if some random person comes over here and goes, Facebook's liberal, no fucking shit, then you come up with a suggestion. Okay? You solve the problem. Because I'm exhausted. I got enough going on, guys. I don't have time for this shit. Hell, I can look in the mirror and call my own self ugly and wrinkled and worn out, bat wings and whatever the fuck else y'all want to say. And as far as a tank top goes, no, I'm not wearing a tank top under my shirt. Whatever the fuck that means. Stupid motherfucker.
Yeah, one more, you guys. She got the cat.
Pick them up tomorrow so you guys can see. The orange cats get neutered, and Salt, the white kitten that was found under that car at the gas station, who has the mangled looking little leg, he's getting neutered. And then next week I'm going to take 2 more. So thank you to everybody who's helped me with this. Thank you to everybody who sends cat food. I mean, you see what my life is like. It's just working, cleaning, and driving and getting things neutered. Thanks, guys. Guys, I completely forgot to video. I completely forgot to video me taking the cats inside. I'm sorry. That orange cat was screaming his guts out.
Okay, I'm gonna go down the list here I got lined up. See what we're at on all the short ones. There we go. I have a Nick Shirley one, but I'll say it for the
Career criminal walked free, and within 24 hours, an innocent man is dead. This is what happened. On August 4th, a career criminal, an illegal immigrant by the name of Valdez, is picked up because he violated his home detention. He's picked up, he's booked. On August 5th, a judge lets this man walk free. Then on August 6th, Valdez is in the act of burglarizing a place. An innocent man walks up. Valdez takes out his weapon and fatally stabs a 68-year-old. The man dies at the scene. The judge let this career criminal out, walk free, and within 24 hours, a 68-year-old innocent man is dead. This guy, Valdez, also had an ICE detainer on him, saying that if he is picked up, they by law have to hold him for 48 hours so that ICE can do a little bit of research to see if this guy should even still be here. A career criminal, and a judge just lets him walk free, and now an innocent grandfather is dead. This is what is happening in America because of soft on crime judges, especially here in California, letting criminals walk free. Get this, you guys, Valdez is pleading innocent for the crime. Such a sad story.
Yeah, there's 3 of them. I got 2 left. Nick's mom.
Working on passing a law that would let criminals walk free. This bill is called AB 2108, and what this bill says, that if a person goes into a store and they steal something non-violently, they steal it because they simply just need it, they don't have enough money for it, they can be forgiven of their crime. A Democratic lawmaker says poor people need to steal because they don't have enough money. So if you were to walk into a Walmart, steal some cereal, some bread, some shoes, non-violently, and walk out with the stuff, you can be forgiven for that crime. If you are caught and you have to appear before a judge, all you need to do is tell the judge that you committed the crime because you don't have enough money. The judge will say, okay, you need to go to a diversion program now. Once you complete the diversion program, the crime will totally be wiped away. This is telling people, hey, if you want to steal something, if you don't have enough money, just go in the store and get it, and you can be forgiven of your crime. Crazy, right? It is. But this is what is happening here in the state of California. They say poor people just simply need to steal to survive, and we should forgive them for their crime. California.
Hey, I think one more. Yeah, that's the video I got. His mom.
Democrats voted for it while 10 Republicans voted against it. This bill will now go to Gavin Newsom's desk. Mia Bonta, the Attorney General's wife, she's also an assemblywoman for Oakland, California. She's the one who came up with this bill. Once Nick came into California and started exposing the hospice fraud taking place in California, they didn't like it. Nobody said, thank you, Nick, for investigating just where millions and billions of dollars are being stolen from us. Instead, they wrote a bill to attack him, to go after him, and to stop him from doing this. Crazy thing in this bill, in California's legislation, they have a code called Evidence Code 1070, which actually protects journalists. In this bill, they took it out. They do not want any protection for citizen journalists when we go and investigate fraud taking place in their community. When we go and look into just where our taxpayer dollars are going, government leaders in California do not want us to investigate this. They need immigration fraud to continue because they benefit from it. This is what is happening in California. They want to stop anyone like Nick Shirley. The Stop Nick Shirley Act has officially passed through the California Senate. 30 Democrats voted for it while 10 Republicans voted against it. This bill will now go to Gavin Newsom's desk.
See, I got one more cat lady one. I can't remember if I played it or not yesterday. I might have played it, but we'll play it again.
To what's happening in Dearborn, Michigan, because the bikers decided to go up there and do like a thing, you know, for Christians and for America. They having this little news conference right now in Dearborn, Michigan, talking about how people didn't send their children to daycare today because they were so frightened, and people that aren't taking their kids to play softball because they're so frightened of the American burly real men that headed up to Dearborn, Michigan. It's okay for a bunch of patty-fellas to get in the street, take over the street, do what they want to do, but let some red-blooded American men decide they're going to go up there and they want to show what they feel, and we can't have that. So now there's people are locking their doors and they're just scared for their lives over this shit. Y'all ought to turn it on and listen to it. Hey, everybody, so I just got through feeding the cats. There's a storm coming, but have you been listening?
Okay, let's get the 4 clips of Benny, and then we'll get to Nick Shirley.
$1,000 of donor money into a charity run by his own wife and stepson. That stepson has now drawn an estimated $800,000 through the family nonprofit since 2018, which means the loudest anti-corruption voice in American politics has been quietly running one of the coziest family pipelines in Washington. And the single most damning detail is not a number at all. It is the one thing this charity did back in 2019, the first time reporters came knocking, because it tells you the family knew exactly how all of this looked. So just imagine this with me. It is 2016 and Bernie Sanders has just come off the campaign that turned him from a rumpled Vermont senator into a global brand. Millions of small donors, $27 at a time, a movement built on one promise. The money in politics is corrupt and Bernie is the one man who cannot be bought. That same year, 2 people very close to him spot an opportunity. His wife, Jane Elmira Sanders, and her son, Bernie's stepson, David Driscoll, co-found a brand new nonprofit in Vermont. They call it the Sanders Institute. Its stated mission is big and noble: to spread progressive ideas and, in their words, revitalize democracy. Jane installs herself as a fellow, and the executive director job, the one with the salary attached, goes to Driscoll. Now, Driscoll is not a policy veteran. His resume before the Institute included was working for a snowboarding company. But in the Sanders universe, the family name is the credential, and the Institute begins raising money on the strength of it. Donations come in, salaries go out, and for a couple of years, almost nobody outside Vermont pays attention to the little think tank with the famous name. Then Bernie decides to run for president again, and in early 2019, something very strange happens at the Sanders Institute. Something that, looking back, was the loudest confession this family ever made. The Institute shut its own doors.
What do you guys think it is?
Suddenly, right as the
Anybody
2020
come across
campaign
that?
ramped up, Sanders Institute announced it was suspending operations. The official explanation was about avoiding even the appearance of impropriety during the campaign. Think about what that sentence admits. You do not suspend a legitimate charity because a family member is running for office. Food banks do not close when their donors run for city council. The Institute went dark because the questions were coming. Questions about a nonprofit named Bernie Sanders.
Okay, part 2. 4 parts.
Stepson, raising money from donors whose names the public could not fully see. CBS covered the closure at the time. The think tank, run by Bernie's wife and son, was shutting down. The story faded. The campaign roared on, and most people assumed that was the end of it. It was not the end of it, because once the spotlight moved, the doors quietly opened again. The salary resumed, and the pipeline that got built next was bigger than anything the Institute had managed before. This time, the money would not just come from outside donors. It would come from Bernie's own campaign accounts. Here's what the filings show, and every number here comes from public records reported by outlets including Fox News, The Daily Caller, and The Washington Examiner. Between April 2021 and November 2024, Bernie Sanders' campaign committees, the accounts filed by those famous $27 donors, deposited $775,000 into the Sanders Institute. One transfer alone in August 2023 sent $75,000 from Friends of Bernie Sanders, his campaign committee, to the family charity as a so-called charitable donation. Now, follow the money one more step, because this is where it stops being abstract. The Institute's own tax disclosures show David Driscoll pulling an executive director salary of $120,000 to $150,000 a year, and reporting puts his total take since 2018 at roughly $800,000. In 2021, the Institute raised about $717,000 and spent $257,000 of it on wages, a third of the money straight to payroll, at a charity whose flagship public output is a website and an occasional gathering. So trace the full circuit. A retiree in Ohio sends Bernie $27 to fight the billionaire class. The campaign banks it. The campaign donates it to the Family Institute. The Institute pays the stepson. Add the campaign transfers to the salary history, and the family charity pipeline clears $1.1 million. The movement against money in politics has a toll booth, and the family owns it. And the reason this detonates right now, the reason this story refuses to stay buried, is what Bernie is doing this very month. He just sent a public letter to Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, and the DNC chair demanding the party renounce what he calls a corrupt system of super PAC money, waiving a figure of $517 million in corporate spending. The man lecturing his entire party about corrupt money channels is the same man whose campaign deposited $750,000 into his wife and named after a sitting senator, run by his wife, paying his stepson, raising money from donors whose names.
Part 3. Important stuff here, you guys.
All of it is legal, and they are right. Campaigns are allowed to donate to charities. Family members are allowed to work in politics. Nothing here has produced an indictment, and honesty requires saying so plainly. But legal was never the standard Bernie Sanders set. His entire career is a sermon about arrangements that are perfectly legal and perfectly rotten, about the insiders who follow every rule while the money finds its way home. Judge the Sanders Institute by Bernie's own standard, the one he applies to every billionaire and every super PAC, and the verdict right itself. When a politician's donor money becomes his family's salary, Bernie Sanders has a word for that. He just never expected anyone to use it on him. Now, step into the other end of this pipeline for a moment, because the machine only runs if you are standing there. You're a retired teacher in Michigan. You have given Bernie $27 a month since 2019, skipping small things to do it, because he is the one politician you are certain would never let your money become someone's family salary. You get the emails about billionaires and corruption, and you nod and you give again. Nobody ever emails you to say that your campaign donation was passed along to a nonprofit chaired by the candidate's wife, or that the executive director drawing a six-figure salary from that nonprofit calls the candidate stepdad. You would never approve that if asked, so you were never asked. Multiply yourself by the millions of small donors who built this movement, and you understand why the filings read the way they do. The money moves in amounts small enough to feel clean and lands in places familiar enough to feel safe. And the only people who never find out are the people who paid for all of it. And notice the rhythm of the quiet, because a timeline is its own confession. The Institute launches in 2016 while the movement is hot. It goes dark in 2019, the exact moment national reporters start sniffing around a second presidential run. It reopens once the race ends and the cameras leave. Then from 2021 through 2024, with nobody watching, the campaign accounts start wiring the money in year after year. $75,000 here, a charitable donation there, until $750,000 has crossed. Every step is timed to the attention cycle. When the public looks, the doors close. When the public looks away, the family gets paid. Institutions that believe they are innocent do not behave like this. They behave like this when they understand the arrangement cannot survive daylight, which is the same conclusion Bernie Sanders reaches every week about everybody else's money. There is one more layer, and it is the part that should genuinely bother even his supporters. The people who funded this were not hedge fund managers hedging their bets. Bernie's donor base is famously the most working class in American politics. Teachers, nurses, and drivers giving small amounts they actually feel. Those are the people whose money rode the circuit stepson's nonprofit.
Okay, last part, you guys. Pretty important stuff there, huh?
The completely different building. In 2010, while Bernie Sanders was building his national profile in the Senate, his wife Jane was running a small liberal arts school on the edge of Burlington called Burlington College. She'd been its president since 2004, and that year she pushed through the most ambitious expansion in the school's history, a $10 million deal to buy 33 acres of waterfront land from the Roman Catholic Diocese of Burlington. Now, to finance it, Jane Sanders needed a loan. She went to People's United Bank and applied for $6.7 million, with another $3.6 million financed directly through the parish selling the land. Ooh, creative writing. And on that loan application, the one with her signature on it, she told the bank the college could afford the debt because of millions of dollars in pledged donor commitments. Those donors have since come forward, multiple of them, denying that they ever pledged what the application said they pledged. Creative writing. Ooh. By 2011, Jane Sanders had resigned as college presidente amid questions from her own board of trustees about the land purchase. By 2016, Burlington College was closed, gonzo. Trustees said publicly it collapsed under, in their words, the crushing weight of the debt from the exact land deal she'd signed off on. Ooh. A federal complaint followed in January 2016, accusing her of distorting the level of committed pledges on that loan application to secure the money. The FBI opened an investigation into potential bank fraud. Oh, Ms. Sanders. And Politico reported prosecutors were examining a second allegation, too. The Senator Sanders' own office had inappropriately pressured the bank to approve his wife's loan in the first place. Ooh, put the squeeze on there, Bernie. Read that again. The man who spent 30 years warning America about senators doing favors for powerful institutions was now the subject of a federal inquiry into whether his office lobbied a bank on behalf of his wife. Put that pressure burning. This is happening at the same time reporters are trying to figure out how the couple paid cash for a lake house. Two separate financial stories, same family, same summer, converging into one uncomfortable question. When the Sanders family needed money to move, who made sure it moved? And there's one more name in this story who isn't a Republican operative, isn't Fox News, and isn't anybody with a partisan reason to go after Bernie Sanders, and that name is exactly why nobody could dismiss what came next as a schmear. That name is V.T. Digger, not a national conservative outlet. Oh no. A small, because it happened years earlier and involved a company.
Yep. So they think that they wouldn't get caught, right, Maria? So we're going to get the 18-minute Nick Shirley, and I got a lot of other doing good on time. We still got quite a bit of time still. So we'll get Nick Shirley big update.
From cat parents for more than 50 years, and the real answer almost always catches them.
And do you think there's any conflict of interest with you being the AG's wife here?
You're doing such a good job, you're making their life miserable, and they're trying to figure out a way to stop you.
Wow, you have a lot of them.
Well,
How many of them do you have?
Public reports.
Right now, they're passing the bill AB 2624, aka the Stop Nick Shirley Act. This bill was made by Mia Bonta. She's an assemblywoman. Also happens to be the wife of Attorney General Rob Bonta here inside the state of California. So meanwhile, you have the Attorney General who's supposed to go after the fraudsters, but his wife is currently making bills that would make it harder for fraudsters to get exposed, and it would actually penalize those that go out and search and expose the fraud. AB 2624, aka the Stop Nick Shirley Act, is made to protect immigration support service providers. But what is an immigration support service provider? Well, an immigration support service provider includes, but is not limited to, nonprofit offices, DOJ recognized entities, community legal clinics, law offices, accredited representative sites, and healthcare facilities that provide services to immigrants. Whether it be illegal or a legal immigrant, your tax dollars are funding these entities. So therefore, let's say you go out and you expose a Leering Center inside of your community. Well, if that Leering Center gives you a piece of paper and says, hey, you cannot publish that video, therefore you cannot publish the video. That is a direct violation of the First Amendment. And then let's also say that immigration support service provider claims reasonable fear. Well, then you potentially will get a $4,000 fine, and you'll actually have to pay for the legal fees of the person who's suing you. Therefore, investigative journalists, citizens in general, will actually be de-incentivized to go after and expose fraud. Now we have a few announcements. Number one, here on August 26th, we're going to be doing a rally here in front of the Capitol here in Sacramento, and I want you all here on August 26th. I'll be providing more information on that as well on my other socials as we get up to that date. And then number two, we have the new Califradia Republic t-shirts and hoodies that are available on my website right now at antifraudclub.com if you want to support our work. And these are actually pretty dope. So go ahead and get one at antifraudclub.com. And now, today, we're going to be confronting Mia Bonta and the senators that are going to be now voting on this bill as it heads its way to Gavin Newsom's office. How's it going, Mia Bonta? How are you doing? What made you create AB 2624, aka the Stop Nick Shirley Act people are calling? And do you think there's any conflict of interest with you being the AG's wife here, creating a bill that would make it harder to expose fraud here inside the state of California?
beautiful thing about California
Yep.
is that we actually don't support misinformation. To my knowledge, there's absolutely no bill that is being considered by this legislature called whatever you reference it as.
Yes, the official title is AB 2624, but after people read it and saw what it included, it'd make exposing fraud and make it harder, especially in immigration support service providers.
The other beautiful thing about California is that the American public, the California public, is actually aware when they're receiving misinformation.
This isn't misinformation. I have it right here.
As you are offering right now.
And Mia Bonta.
And that is my stance. Thank you so much.
And you actually just removed evidence 1070 from the bill on the last amendment, which actually takes away any protection that a journalist would have to expose fraud inside immigration support service fraud.
That's how you want to roll.
It's right here on screen. I put it on the paper.
And your public. But unfortunately, it is not what the actual bill does. Thank you so much.
It actually is. Thank you. And right here, we have it on paper. They removed evidence code 1070, which is the only thing that protect a journalist here inside the state of California. And if Mia Bonta really believed in her bill, she'd be able to actually have a conversation about it. Mia Bonta, we finally got her. We were able to confront her, and she literally ran away, and she couldn't answer any questions, and she would not even discuss the bill that she created. And now let's go and confront the senators that are going to be voting on this bill. Yeah, Senator Jesse, on the AB 2624, aka the Stop Nick Shirley Act, your own committee had analysis saying that there's First Amendment concerns, yet you voted to pass it. Why'd you do that? Senator Jesse, any answers? We're just asking you a question on behalf of the people here. Any response, or why would you pass a bill and support a bill that you literally, your own committee, said flagged First Amendment concerns? Senator Jesse, come on now. People are going to be wondering why you're not answering any of these questions. I'm citing your own.
I can't believe they do the talking when they're in the building, but when they come out of public, they don't say nothing.
Committee. Anything? All right. Have a good day. These guys don't even know what they're voting for. That's what it looks like. On July 30th, his own committee said this bill, referring to AB 2624, the Stop Nick Shirley Act, has the same First Amendment concerns as its reproductive health care counterpart. And yet, he's going to go vote yes on it. How's it going, Sadie?
Get out of the way, please.
Sadie. Assemblywoman
Get out of the way,
Sadie.
please.
We're just asking her some questions about the bill she co-authored. Assemblywoman Sadie, she's right here. Assemblywoman Sadie. We're just talking to our people that are representing us here in California. Assemblywoman Sadie. Assemblywoman Sadie, we just wanted to thank you for protecting the fraudsters and supporting and co-authoring a bill that violates the First Amendment. Goodbye, Assemblywoman Sadie. Senator Archuleta, we just want to know how you're going to vote on AB 2624, aka the Stop Nick Shirley Act.
We're going to keep looking at it.
What do you think about it?
You should find someplace else to be.
Why? This bill is going to affect a lot of Americans and people here in California that pay for a lot of these immigration support service providers. We want to just talk to our senator.
It's not your senator.
Why not?
No.
Can we just ask you a quick question?
Who said that?
He said you're not our senator.
No, who is that? Somebody in the general public? I am the senator for the state of California,
Exactly.
the 30th Senate District.
Exactly.
We got to get inside. Hey,
Why are you so mad, sir? We're just trying to talk to the
not
representatives.
bad at all. Have a great day.
Word has gotten out that I'm here, and that's why all these are coming out with these random security people. These are not real security guards that are coming through with them. They're just grabbing people before they head out, and they're saying, hey, make sure Nick Shirley does not get to talk to the senator. Oh, look, we have another senator coming right now. Okay, but before we get to the senator, I want to tell you guys about the sponsor of this video, and that is Opus Clip. Opus Clip is more than just an AI clipper. They're actually the fastest and most powerful AI growth tool for all creators. For me personally, just in the past 28 days, it's helped me get over 90 million views and get over 100,000 followers on a new Facebook page. It saved me so much time and, quite frankly, so much money. And Opus is so simple to use. All you do is you upload a YouTube video into Opus, and Opus will come out with tons of viral shorts and videos for you to then post on all of your platforms, from TikTok to Facebook to Instagram to YouTube Shorts, you name it. And what I use is a feature called the bulk schedule feature. I'll go ahead and select all the videos that Opus just made for my recent YouTube video, and I'll go ahead and schedule those videos on all my platforms. Opus will even make the captions for me and schedule those videos to post. It saves me so much time. And Opus just came out with their new AI upscaler feature that makes your videos go from a low grade quality to a better grade quality just through the power of AI. It's super simple to use. And I promise you, it's so easy to use that even mom uses it.
I can use it. I guarantee you can use it.
And for you guys watching this video, Opus is going to hook you guys up with a sweet deal. You get 4 months at 50% off All you have to do is go to the link in the description down below or in the pinned comment of this video. I promise Opus is a game changer, and the senator's coming right now. Let's go confront him. As a co-author, what are you going to do about AB 2624?
Why wouldn't I?
What makes you want to pass AB 2624?
Excuse me, sorry. Even immigrant service providers.
And why should they be shielded from public?
Because they have been people kidnapped off of our
10
streets.
minutes, you guys.
And who have been kidnapped?
Make sure that they are secure, safeguarded, not dogs.
The immigration support service providers?
Absolutely.
They've been kidnapped?
The people that they serve. You know this. You're not brand new. I know you're smarter.
Are you saying they've been kidnapped by ICE, the illegal migrants? Is that what you're referring to?
They've been kidnapped by ICE. They've been kidnapped by a federal administration that has been antagonistic towards people that are working hard in our community.
And so should it be criminal for a journalist to go and expose a location that might be committing fraud?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Because this is what this bill is going to try to do.
Who are you referring to?
This bill, AB 2624.
This is not about that. This is about immigrant service providers.
Exactly. And you guys are trying to shield people from looking into them. Lena Gonzalez, the senator co-author of the Stop Nick Shirley Act,
Yes.
AB 2624, says that immigrants have been kidnapped. That's why they're creating this bill. But the bill is for immigration support service providers.
I don't want to say you're making their life miserable, but you're doing such a good job. You're making their life miserable, and they're trying to figure out a way to stop you.
In districts here in California, they use immigrant communities to commit the fraud.
I think people use immigrant communities to commit fraud on several occasions. You've exposed a lot of that stuff. There was daycare facilities you've exposed, and it doesn't just happen in immigrant communities. It happens in other communities as well, and you're doing a great job, and you just keep up the good work.
Awesome. Why won't some of these assemblymen or the senators, they're just running away from us?
They're afraid of you.
And how are you going to vote on AB 2624?
I'm going to be a big fat no.
How's it going, Senator?
How are you?
Good. Can we ask you a quick question?
I'm a little late, man.
How are you going to, we can walk with you. How are you going to vote on AB 2624?
I've not reviewed it yet.
What do you think about
So-
it? I can give you a little breakdown on it.
I got to take a look through, man.
All right.
I gotta go
Well,
through it.
it's
I gotta take a
essentially
look.
making it illegal to expose fraud
lots of
inside
things.
immigration support service communities. You think that's a good thing?
Well, thanks for being here. I got a lot of.
He says he doesn't know about it, but yet he'll be voting on it.
So we won.
We won. The Supreme Court just dropped their decision.
In the 27
states that passed.
Scott.
Thank you.
And how come you guys took away evidence code 1070 on AB 2624?
Have a good day, Nick.
Wait, why'd you take away? See, they just run away. Pardon me, guys. Another thing about AB 2624 is there's this thing called evidence code 1070. It's California's shield law. And after the pressure we put on them, they then put it inside the bill so journalists could continue to do their jobs when they go and cover immigration support service providers. Well, the last amendment they made, they hurry and literally just crossed it out. And so that evidence code 1070, the California shield law, stripped away any protection that it would give to a journalist for going and investigating potential fraud taking place inside an immigration support service provider. How are you going to vote on AB 2624, aka the Stop Nick Shirley Act?
Oh, are you kidding? It's against the Constitution. It's against free speech. The governor should be sending you a thank you letter. I did send you a thank you letter.
And why do you think here in California specifically they're trying to make it harder for people to expose fraud inside immigration support service providers?
Maybe they're trying to hide their supporters for their campaigns. I have no idea. I'm not in their head, but it's insane that we're not prosecuting these people who are stealing. California doesn't have a revenue problem, has a wasteful spending problem. You uncovered the wasteful spending in Minnesota. You came here in California. And I thank you for coming to California.
Sasha, you're a co-author of AB 2624. What makes you want to pass AB 2624?
Well, this is a bill that's really intended to protect child care centers. I know you have concerns, and I've seen your post online that you're worried that it's targeting you, and I want to make very clear that this was not a piece of legislation intended to target you.
It was only created after I exposed widespread fraud inside of immigrant communities here.
I think there's some more larger concerns about what's happening.
But this fraud's pretty, it's real.
The work you do is important, and it would be great if we could get you to focus on some key issues, Nick. I'll see ya.
Have a good one. I don't know about you guys, but I think our tax dollars being wasted, I think that's an important issue. Senator, how are you going to vote on AB 2624, aka the Stop Nick Shirley Act?
I'm voting no because I believe in transparency and accountability, and we need more of that in California.
Do a lot of these legislators know what they're voting and passing?
I don't think they do. If you were to actually sit down and think about how you're casting your vote, for me, the first thing I'm always asking is it going to make life more affordable for Californians? And the second thing, is it about transparency? Is it about accountability? And if it's not those three things, I'm not voting for it.
And it's kind of interesting how here in California, when I go and speak with the legislators, lawmakers, and politicians inside of this building right here, the moment I ask them a question about what they're bringing about for the people of California, they start running.
And as we were interviewing the last California politician, this happened. And just wait until we reveal who this man is.
Mia Bonta, do you think her creating a bill that would make it basically illegal, give someone a $4,000 fine for looking into immigration support service providers?
Did you guys hear that Nick Shirley has a small penis allegedly?
Wow, that's so adult of you.
Did you hear about this? Nick Shirley
you would never
allegedly
see
has a small penis. Well, I don't know. This is what they're reporting. Have you seen this?
Well, the reports are wrong.
They're reporting. Well, we don't know. Prove me wrong.
No, I'm not. I don't do that.
Prove me wrong. It's good enough for Charlie Kirk. Prove me wrong.
You don't want to do that.
Well, if you consent.
I mean, we are in California. They do support files.
I think you're over 18. So there are news reports happening that Nick Shirley has a small. Do you have any comment on Nick Shirley's
Well, I think
allegedly
bold. He
small?
comes out here.
Allegedly small.
It's risky for him to be out here. He could be banned or criminalized. You know.
Exactly.
I don't think this having a small. Is that a criminal? Are you going to introduce that legislation, Assembly member?
Hey, sir.
To
Well,
ban Nick
to look at
Shirley's
your penis,
really
you'd have to
small
lift up your
penis?
fat to even look at it. So
I'm out.
you should work on that before you allege somebody else about their own.
Thank you so much.
I'm packing. I don't know what to say here on YouTube, but I'm doing just fine. That guy has to lift up the flab to literally look at his own. Wow, you have a lot of them.
Well, I
How many
mean,
of them do you have?
there's public reports, and so we're just. Hey,
Public
gentlemen, have you
reports.
guys heard these public reports? Nick Shirley allegedly has a small. There's an investigation going on. If you like, there you go. Thank you so much. There's an active investigation.
Look at all the
Citizen
ones here. Look
journalist.
show people how many you made. Show people how many you made. How many copies you
Citizen
made.
journalist doing citizen
You
journalism.
have a camera here, pal.
No, I'm a citizen journalist. There's cameras everywhere. Have you been
What
to
do you guys
America?
think?
Oh, you're using a
It's called
flock
a
camera?
flock cam.
Well, I beat you to the joke.
That's good. So, Nick, are you here to dispel any rumors? I mean, the people are saying, the people have a lot of words.
I wouldn't want to show you.
I didn't ask you to show me. I didn't ask you to show me
I'm
anything.
doing just fine. To see yours, you have to literally lift up a flab of fat to look at yours.
I don't know what you're talking about, Nick.
You literally have to go like this to tuck your tummy and look at your
Well,
own.
it's too bad that your shirt doesn't have a union bug on it, but I guess that's part of your brand. Does not having a union bug also imply like small energy? Is there a lot of small energy happening?
I do not have small energy. I think you do. It's a grown man.
I mean, I don't have. I'm not. There people aren't reporting on me having a small. Like I don't have any reports, but
I don't think anyone would ever make a report on you. Period.
I mean, I would look. I mean, it's all over the internet.
If you're so proud about who you are, say your first and last name.
My name is also Nick.
Say your first and last name.
See, this is not about me. It's about Nick Shirley.
Say your first and last name if you're proud about who you are.
And now, who is this man that would come out and put such a false statement on a paper to put all around Sacramento? Well, his name's actually Terry, and Terry is the Chief of Staff of California State Assembly. So this man is the Chief of Staff of the entire Assembly of California, and this is what he's doing with his time.
What's up?
Hi.
Oh,
Can I get a photo?
Oh, yeah, you can get a photo. See, people.
Home Depot hates when you do this, but they can't stop you.
All right, not doing anything special here, just pouring the powder right into the bowl.
That was good. What he just said.
It expands and covers it entirely.
Love me. People don't know who you are.
That's fine.
Do you mind
Do
taking
you want
it?
a flyer?
Do you want to take the photo?
No, I'm gonna.
This is a beautiful lady right here, sir. You are not being hostile.
Okay.
You don't get to touch my things. Sir.
Who has it now?
Steal my things. That actually is a crime. Law enforcement.
It was in our
that is a
photo.
crime. You can't.
Come on.
You can't steal my stuff, Nick.
Come on.
Thank you. You can't steal
Come
my
on.
stuff.
Making your workout so people can actually see your.
Nick, I know because all the blood's flowing into your arms. It's not flowing into your incredibly, allegedly small. Nick, you don't get to touch that. It's not yours.
Hey, she wants.
I can do the same thing, Nick. What does that do for you?
You can't get it though.
Come on, Nick. I'm not going to touch your paper. Give me my stuff back, Nick. I don't want to involve law
Go
enforcement in stealing my papers.
Oh, I'm so sorry about your papers.
It's yours. And now that they have Prop 36 in California, Sergeant, I need my Sergeant.
Here, let's get a photo. You want your photo? Look at all of the papers this guy made. He's gonna put these all around Sacramento. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
Because I don't need it. I need my paperwork, please, Nick. Nick, why do you feel the need to threaten to steal other people's items? Is it part of having an allegedly small penis that you feel the need to steal?
No, you just put it in my face, so I grabbed it. Look, you want to grab it back?
But no one's putting a
You want it
small
back?
penis. I do want it back, please.
I know he is. He's
I am
breathing
gonna
cardio.
call
Look at this guy.
I am going to call law.
This dude comes out here. Call him. Call 911.
Stay safe, Nick.
This is California politics right here. Grown men coming out with papers, making.
I don't know what's happening.
This is grown. This is California politics. This is hilarious. Oh, of course, I do it for people just like you. See, people love me.
Stay safe.
I will.
Appreciate what you're doing.
Crazy dude right
Been
there.
watching all your
No way he gets in a Tesla. No way. No way you get in a Tesla. He probably doesn't like Elon Musk. Look at him. Absolute clown. He likes fraudsters. California right now is voting on AB 2624, aka the Stop Nick Shirley Act. Now they're going to go ahead and vote, and there are 30 Democrats and 10 Republicans here inside the California Senate, and there needs to be 21 votes to get this bill passed. Let's see what happens. We got 4 ayes and 1 no so far. Uh-oh, not looking good. We got 7 yeses, 1 no. All right, we got 1 more no. Oh no. We got 30 yes votes and 10 no votes. AB 2624, aka the Stop Nick Shirley Act, has passed here inside the California Senate. They want to make it harder for those to expose fraud to be able to go out and expose fraud. They're actually going to penalize you if you go out and do it. They're going to protect immigration support service providers over legal taxpayers here inside the United States. That's how twisted this bill is right now. And the wife of the Attorney General is the one who created this bill. We are officially in the Califradia Republic. I'll do everything I can to make sure this bill can get passed. On August 26th, we'll be inside this.
Wow, that was a good one. What do you guys? Glad I played that. I'm going to do about 10 shorts.
Actually announced a joint partnership. It didn't make the news a whole lot, so I did share to my stories. I wanted to talk a little bit about it. Essentially, what they're saying is they're wanting to sort of close the gap. The FBI has identified really these cyber-enabled sexual exploitation schemes where these bad actors are using the images and likeness of some of these NCAA athletes. So they're targeted because of the public profiles that they have. A lot of times, if you've seen those photos of the NCAA athletes, it has like their hometown, age, the sport. Sometimes it has a major, those kinds of things. And so they are using their images and their likeness in a lot of these sexual exploitation schemes. So the FBI wants to try to, I guess, close the gap on that. And one of the things that they're sort of warning on is, don't click on text messages, links, or unknown documents, because what they're doing is they're sending unsolicited text messages. This is primarily how it's happening. And they are claiming that their account will be disabled absent, resetting a PIN. And basically, they want the NCAA to really get into these athletes' minds the fact that they will a verified source is never going to send you an unsolicited message if you haven't already asked for that PIN reset. So they really are trying to get that through, because that's how they're getting access to a lot of these individuals' phones, their pictures, and their likenesses. So I thought that this was interesting. And I think that this also applies, in my opinion, to high school athletes and child athletes as well. My daughter's an athlete. I do not have an Instagram page for her and her sport. I've said that before, that I'm not for that, although I know I get a lot of pushback because people say, oh, we need them for college recruiting and we need them for this. Well, then we need to be having discussions with colleges about why this isn't safe in terms of the recruiting process. And we need to be upset with them, not upset with me for recommending that we shouldn't have underage children's photos, likenesses, sports, high schools that they play with on open internet pages. So I'm glad that these two entities are working together. I think that this is a good thing, because we have seen a lot of times in some of these sextortion and sexual exploitation cases, these significantly impacting the mental health of young adults as well as young children. So I think this is a good thing, and I wanted to draw your attention to it.
Okay, well, I got one more with her. A regular one that we play.
Forney ISD and Plano ISD the week prior to that one. You can go check them out. They're here on my Instagram feed. As you know, Principal Wendy Bailey was also charged, along with Mike Rowell. She was charged for not reporting allegations of child abuse. This was, in my opinion, a good departure, holding her criminally accountable, because in the case of Plano, Jennifer King, the principal there were many, many allegations that she also knew about abuse and didn't do anything about it, but she could only be held civilly liable. So Wendy Bailey was held criminally liable, but now her and Mike Rowell are facing federal charges for wire fraud, and then also my guess is knowingly tampering with documents, because he did change his name to avoid those charges coming up in his employment. So this, in my opinion, is huge towards accountability. And I know that it's happening elsewhere. It's not just Texas, y'all. I understand that. I know what's going on in Tehachapi. I'm working on a video on that one as well. But you know that this impacts me personally, and I feel like I have to amplify this. I wish that this also could impact private schools as well, because I'm going to be honest with you, I think they get away with a lot more because they are private schools. And I think those heads, principals, whatever you call them, get away with a lot more because their accountability and their board of trustees cover a lot up. And I know that's not going to make me popular with the private school folks, but you should want that same level of accountability. So as a result of this, the FBI actually issued a project that they are working on along with local law enforcement. They announced it yesterday here in Texas, but it's a whole Department of Justice project. So this is going to impact everyone. And it's called Project Safe Schools. And I'll put the graphic up for it. I'm just going to list you the 4 things that they're looking for. They're looking to prevent misconduct, protect students, prosecute wrongdoers, and partner with schools and law enforcement. So now the federal government is getting involved. And I know some people are going to say this is overreach. Guys, the protection of our children shouldn't be viewed as overreach. No one's telling states what to teach. They're not getting involved in their curriculum. It's a separate issue, but you should want the full measure of the law and accountability for this. And I've had, people message me, well, I never had problems with these teachers. I don't care. Think about saying that to a potential victim's family's face. I don't really care that you never had problems with these teachers, and victims don't want to necessarily hear that. And that culture is what keeps us, in my opinion, from dealing with this. So Forney ISD is actually settled with the federal government in regards to their case. Again, that wire fraud conspiracy case. But I do think that this initiative is going to be helpful with accountability.
Okay, that was 2 good ones for today. They have arrived, you guys, it says. Almost done, you guys.
Of you an update on what I've been doing with the Mitch McConnell story. So I have been digging into over 40 hours of roll call votes prior to his last vote on June 11th. Now, what I found was absolutely astounding. Basically, staffers, clerks, and even other senators are helping or were helping Senator Mitch McConnell to prompt him to vote and how to vote. I've never seen anything so bad before. So I've clipped out about a dozen or so clips showing you staffers, members, clerks, I believe, on the Senate floor, and even other senators reminding Senator Mitch McConnell to vote and how to vote. I have the Chief of Staff, Terry Carmack, on video showing Senator McConnell how to change his vote. So essentially what has happened is it's very hard on any given day to see Senator Mitch McConnell come in and vote. Largely, he's wheeled onto the Senate floor. He comes just barely to the door, and he's most of the time out of frame of the camera. The other thing I observed is that Senator Mitch McConnell does appear to have some sort of incapacitation, in my belief. I noticed that he's able to talk and he's more robust during the morning hours, and then in the afternoon, he does not seem to even know where he's at. I've talked to some people in the medical field that work with geriatric patients, and they explain that this is frequently what you see with dementia. They're able to do more in the morning and not as much in the afternoon. So what I did was I looked at the Vote-A-Rama. For those of you who don't know what a Vote-A-Rama is, it's basically like almost a 24-hour voting marathon in which they vote on multiple amendments to bill. The last one they did was on June 4th to get the reconciliation bill for ICE and CBP done. This is where the cracks really started to show in the Mitch McConnell show. His handlers, his staffers were really not able to hide the lack of capacity of this man. So basically what I observed, the session started around 9:30 a.m.
4 more, guys.
And he was doing pretty well for a few hours. He was talking to other senators, having these conversations, walking onto the Senate floor. And then a few hours in, he's done. He sits down at his little desk on the Senate floor and does not move for hours. And every time there's a new vote that's initiated, somebody has to prompt him 20, 30, 40 minutes in, hey, you need to vote, and here's how to vote. So it's either the clerks or his staff or other senators that have to prompt him to vote. This is how bad the situation was on June 4th. I actually believe that the Vote-A-Rama may have contributed to him actually being hospitalized on June 14th, because keep in mind, it was just 10 days later that he was hospitalized after this Vote-A-Rama. So I have multiple clips. I'm finishing up putting timestamps on them. So I'm going to put all of those out to you here shortly. I'm going to start with the very first clip here of three different times he was helped by a clerk on the Senate floor. So stay tuned for more. Desiree.
Okay, we got 1 more with her, then 3 more. I got a Amanda Grace clip.
Trying to figure out what the future of the media news is going to look like. No longer are we going to have basically this Taco Bell one size fits all junk news. We're actually going to have more investigative journalists. And basically, I feel that the way it's moving, we're going to have social media tech companies be running the news through contracted or employed journalists, investigative journalists such as myself. So let's get back to this very important clip. Here is a clip I was telling you about. This is Senator Mitch McConnell's Chief of Staff, Terry Carmack. He comes down, sits with Senator Mitch McConnell for a little bit on the Senate floor, appears to speak at him, speak to him, and then Senator McConnell has to vote. He votes incorrectly, and the Chief of Staff, Terry McCormick, corrects him, and then Mitch McConnell corrects his vote to nay. So stay tuned for that clip.
Tillis, Tuberville, and Young. Mr. Kennedy. No.
Excuse me.
Mr. McConnell.
I don't know about this one, Al. Guys, what do you think? That's definitely a double or what?
Mr. McConnell. No. Mr. Schiff. Aye.
So he said no. He came back alive. Can't get that one. I guess we have two more. Finish off with her, two more here.
I was talking about how there was a blood moon on April the 14th of 32 AD, and how that was a 1-year warning to the Passover of April the 3rd, 33 AD. And like I said in my video, it makes sense that Jesus died that Thursday on April the 2nd, so that he was resurrected on Sunday. But there was a 1-year warning for his death, burial, and resurrection. Then is there a 1-year warning for our resurrection? Now, I went over how this year on 9/11, September the 11th, it's going to be Feast of Trumpets. But I want to share something with y'all that was just revealed to me a little while ago. Something told me to subtract the 14th from the year warning to the 2nd. And we know that's 12 days, right? And then I started thinking about September the 23rd of last year, which was Feast of Trumpets, and how everybody thought that was going to be the time for the rapture. Well, if you subtract 23 minus 11, that is 12. That sounds like a huge coincidence, right? We know in Acts chapter 2, verse 20, it says, the sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and notable day of the Lord come. So before he comes, the sun has to be turned to darkness and the moon to red. Well, on August the 12th of this year, the sun will be turned to darkness with a total solar eclipse. And then right after that, on the 27th and 28th, we will have a blood moon. And this part's going to blow your mind. So I looked up to see what time it would start. 9:23. Now, are 1-year warnings biblical? Well, let's talk about King Nebuchadnezzar's reality check in Daniel chapter 4, verse 28 through 30. This is probably the most famous 1-year warning. The prophet Daniel interpreted a dream for King Nebuchadnezzar, warning him that he will lose his mind and live like a wild animal if he doesn't humble himself. God gave him exactly 12 months to repent. 1 year later, while the king was literally bragging about this great Babylon he had built by his own power, sounds like somebody else, the judgment hit him instantly. The second was Isaiah's warning to Ariel. In Isaiah chapter 29, verse 1, Isaiah gives a cryptic warning to Jerusalem. He tells the people to add year to year, let the feast run their round. Most scholars interpret this as a warning that within 1 year after the full cycle of the annual festivals, distress and siege would come to them. Number 3, the year of recompense. In Isaiah chapter 34, verse 8, Isaiah mentions a specific period called the year of recompense, or a year of vengeance. This is a 1-year period of judgment against Edom and other nations that opposed Zion. It suggests a focused 365-day window where God settles the score for the cause of Zion. Number 4, the barren fig tree in Luke chapter 13, verses 6 through 9. In this parable, a man wants to cut down a fig tree that hasn't produced fruit in 3 years. The warning was the governor asked for 1 more year to dig around it and fertilize it. He says if it bears fruit next year, fine. If not, then cut it down. It's a metaphorical 1-year warning for spiritual repentance before the final cutoff. Are y'all seeing the pattern? The blood moon on August the 28th will be covering all of this area. Y'all, I just found it wild when I subtracted the 14 from the year warning to the second in 33 AD, and it was 12 days. And then I did the same for September the 23rd and minus 12 and got 9/11, the same amount of days for the 1 year warning. We know that Jesus has already fulfilled the spring feast, and he will fulfill the fall feast as well, starting with the Feast of Trumpets. Now, he could come and take his church earlier than that, but I thought this was incredible, and I had to share it with y'all.
All right, that's we'll end it with that one, guys. That was really good, huh? That was a good one for today. All right, so another day down, guys. A lot of good stuff. No long ones today. A lot of short ones today. Glad I played Nick Shirley. That Nick Shirley one was good. All right, thanks, Mod. I don't know what happened to Carol tonight. So, hey, Lucy, Carol, Flying Eagle, Mary, and God bless everybody. Love all. Remember, please hit the like. And remember, I'm always come on when there's breaking news. And so, bless, stay safe, stay strong, keep faith. Never go up. Signing off, Chico, dude. Every ally and Dumbo. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 3, if not sooner. Have a good one, you guys. Stay safe out there.